Fearless, Dalton, Massachusetts. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am just fine, thanks. What's up?
Okay, I have a question on. I have an insurance agency here, and
general agency.
Excuse me.
A broad agency, fire, casualty, the whole works.
Right.
Got you covered.
Right. And I purchased a program from a local computer store. For my auto book, for the auto part of the agency.
I understand.
And the program really wasn't that expensive, but the individual that sold it to me had said that, well, I explained to him what I wanted the program to do. He said, this program will do it.
This is the one for you, Charlie.
Yeah, and needless to say, the program wasn't doing what he said what the program was supposed to do. And I called him up a couple of times, telling him I'm having problems with the program and so on. And he said, well, I'm having problems with the same thing with the program here at the office, and I will as soon as I correct it, I'll get in touch with you. Well, weeks and weeks go by, and I'm calling him up, and this is taking time away from the agency, because here I am trying to do things. I bought the program to make the work easier.
Save you some time, sure.
Right, and now I'm doing everything manually because the program's not working.
All right.
So I spoke to him, and I had explained that to him, and he said, well, I'm getting sick of your calls, blah, blah, blah. When I fix the program, I'll get in touch with you. And then I explained to him, the reason for the program is to make my life easier here at the agency. And I was wondering, is there any way I could take any type of legal action on the work that was involved in inputting all these names into this program?
I doubt that very seriously. I don't know. Well, tell you what, because we're so far over my head, I am drowning. Let's see if we can find somebody who knows something about computers, shall we?
Sure.
Now, your position is you were sold a deficient program.
Right.
As a consequence, you had to do a whole bunch of extra work that has been totally non-productive.
Right.
How much did you pay for the program?
It was inexpensive, $75.
All right, but how much do you feel you've lost because the program did not do what it was supposed? I mean, you paid $75, but tapping all this information in must have cost some money.
Yeah.
How much?
I'd say any vicinity anywhere from on my time and the time that was spent out of the field, because I go from home to home. I'd say in the vicinity anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500.
All right. Let's see what the computer whizzes know about this sort of thing. All right.
Okay.
All right, you hold on. I'm out of my element completely, but maybe if some of you computer guys out there that are really knowledgeable might be able to jump in here and help me just a tad. If someone buys a program and it doesn't do the job it was supposed to do, it would be very much, I think, like buying the ingredients for a recipe. You spend a ton of time putting all the ingredients together, but the costs in that activity would far exceed the cost of the raw material. Do you have recourse against the person who sold you, in this case, the computer program, because it didn't do what it was supposed to do, and you invested a ton of time and effort in trying to make it, or at least to put the stuff in to allow it to do what it's supposed to do? If you're an expert in computers, my number is 212-245-6040. That's a direct expert line. 212-245-6040. I have somebody here from Austin, Texas. Hello there.
Hey, hello, Bruce. One suggestion I've got for the gentleman is the information that he's put in is not lost, primarily because the data is there. He can always use it with another program.
Stanton, are you listening?
Yes, I am.
Because I'm out of it completely here, guys. You said the data's still in there, so it's not lost.
That data's still in there, but how about all the time that it took me to input the data, and all the time that I've lost because I had to do everything manually because the computer didn't do what it was supposed to do.
What he's saying is that when you do get a decent program, you've done the work, and that can be incorporated into that program. I think that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Well, go ahead.
In other words, most programs will, let's say if it's a special database program, it'll have a way to print it in what they call ASCII, which is the standard transfer of data from, back and forth, or a diff format or different formats, so that this data can be used with another program. So in other words, the $75 you spent for the original program, you can throw away if you are get refunded from the guy use a different program and enter that same data without having to type it all in again.
I see. But now, well, my question was, I've had a couple of computer individuals come out here and show me a couple of different programs, and they said no problem, we can transfer all the records into this program.
Right.
My question was, how about all the time that I put into this program? How about all the aggravation and?
Well, wait a minute. Aggravation is another matter.
Okay.
But I think what my friend in Austin is telling you is that most of that time is not lost because it will be utilized eventually. Therefore, you have no loss.
Right.
You got educated reading and learning about the other program.
I got educated reading. Yeah.
I wish you both well. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You bet, Bruce.
I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bruce Williams. I'm sitting here. I'm hoping these guys aren't talking dirty. I mean, I don't know when they start talking about computer. What was that line the fellow used from Austin? I hope it has a Framis valve or something. I mean, I'm sitting here. You know, he could have said something in Serbo-Croatian that was totally immoral there. I don't know. This is Talknet. Here we go to Cleveland. Hello there.
Hi, Mr. Williams.
Hi.
Hi. I'm a college student calling from Cleveland.
You rascal.
And I have something to discuss with you, just a problem. On June 26th, I had purchased a car from a quite renowned dealership.
A new car?
No, it wasn't a used car, 2-year-old car.
All right.
Pretty much new, for quite a sum of money. And the day we came home with it, there was a problem with it. We took it into the dealership, and they said it was fixed. We brought it back home, and again, the same problem continued.
Now, what's this? Who's the we?
My parents and I.
Okay.
I bought the car for myself. My parents helped me.
Well, that's what I was getting to. I wanted to see if this was a joint ownership deal. This is your car.
This is my mother's name.
Okay, then really it's your mother doing all this stuff technically.
Right.
Okay, so the car was not operating correctly when you brought it home.
True.
And you took it back and forth. So what was the upshot of all that activity?
True. They said they had fixed it, and so we brought it home. We went and picked it up, and we brought it home. And the same problem occurred again. We took it to another dealer, to another service shop, and they checked it out again, and they discovered a major problem in the car.
What was that?
It was a cracked head.
Ooh, that's major.
And so we called the dealership up, and we explained to them that this is the problem, and we had a 50-50 warranty for the first month, and in addition, we had also purchased another full warranty that covered quite a lot of other stuff too. And however, this cracked head was not included in this general warranty we had purchased. A warped head was, but not a cracked one. So what the dealership people said was that they would try and extend the factory warranty on this car from the dealers of the car, who had originally made the car, and then they would, maybe then the warranty would honor this defect in it. And so we said, okay, we'll try it that way. So we went in, my parents and I went in the next day, and we were to sign these other. Now, we had already purchased one warranty. Now they wanted us to purchase this factory warranty also, which they had extended from the dealer, from whoever made the car.
But it is a factory as opposed to a private warranty.
Right.
Okay.
Right. We had already purchased a private warranty, and now they wanted us to purchase this other warranty.
In lieu of or in addition to?
In addition to.
For how much more money?
$100 deductible. The first one was $595. And the second one was...
You paid $595 already?
Yes, yes, for one warranty.
And they want you to pay, on top of that, another one?
$100 for the factory, to extend the factory warranty. And so we did. We said, fine. My mother started to write the check out, and she dated it 7/25. He scratched the date out, and he said he dated it 6/25.
Yeah, because he wants the factory to believe was in place before the sale took place.
Okay.
He's trying to stick it to his own company.
Okay, so my mom said, why are you doing that? So he said, so that it honors, so that they honor the warranty.
Indeed.
And, well, we said, fine, whatever. And we took, so they took the car again, and somehow the dealership, the people who were going to fix it, found out about this, that they had changed the date and this and this, and they said that in addition to the cracked head in the car needs a whole new engine, and that the customer has to pick that up because this is not going to be covered in the warranty.
How about the private warranty? What about that?
The private warranty
for $500, $600.
The $595 one does not cover a cracked head. But how about the rest of the engine? It does not. Since the whole engine has to be replaced, it is not covered in the $595.
How much did you pay for this car?
$55.50.
And when did you buy it?
Where?
When?
6/26.
I would see a lawyer if I were you.
You would?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The kind of money you described,
right?
It sounds to me like that you've been had. This guy is playing around with changing warranties around, and it just sounds to me like you're dealing with a crook.
Right. We have not driven the car in a month and a half. I mean, we are paying the installment, we are paying the insurance, but we have yet to drive the car.
Get yourself a lawyer.
Can you recommend some lawyer?
No, I'm not permitted to do that.
Okay.
But I'm confident if you haven't got one, the Bar Association in Cleveland can do that for you. Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Is English your first language?
Yes. No. Well, yes, it is.
It is now. Was it?
No, it wasn't.
I didn't. What was your first language? Let me guess. I'm going to say something Middle European.
Well, no. Kind of Asian. It was Hindi.
Hindi?
Yes.
I'll be darned. Because you speak excellent English. Don't misunderstand me. But there's just an inflection or two that led me to believe that your first language was other than English.
Well, actually, I learned English before I learned Hindi because I went to a private school in India. But you were exposed to Hindi. Oh, yeah.
As a very tiny child.
Oh, yes.
Even though you went to school, when you were first home toddling around, what language were you used?
It was Hindi.
Yeah.
It was Hindi.
I wish I was 10% as effective in a second language or a first language as you are.
Thank you.
I would see an attorney lover.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I wish you will.
Bye-bye.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. More Talknet.
The call's on us at 1-800-TALKNET.
Oh, my goodness gracious. You know, during that commercial interlude, I was listening to that Betty Crocker commercial. Did you hear that? That has got to have my nomination as the best commercial that I've heard in a long, long time. It's just so well done. It's not only a commercial, but it's entertaining. Billy, is that thing ready to play? Oh, let's just listen to this thing. Listen to this kid's voice and the lines.
After school yesterday, my new boyfriend Scott came over for the very first time. He is so cute.
Can you visualize this child?
He wanted something to eat, like a Betty Crocker brownie sundae. They are so good, that thick, rich Betty Crocker brownie with all that wonderful ice cream in the middle. They're like an ice cream sandwich, only much, much better. Anyway, he said yes, so I went to the freezer, and there was only one left. And then I thought, how cute is he really? He is kind of short.
The rationalization?
So I ate the Betty Crocker brownie sundae and gave
Scott this is the best line of all.
And he just sort of left. Was a Betty Crocker brownie sundae worth it?
Great.
Yeah, it sure was.
I think that is an outstanding commercial. I don't know who did that for. Betty Crocker is, what's the name of the company? I've forgotten now. Who's Betty Crocker? Pillsbury, yeah. And they're owned by somebody else. But absolutely incredible commercial. It really is. Doesn't Pillsbury also own Haagen-Dazs? When I think about it? I think they do. Did they sell it? No, who can keep track of what they're buying and selling these days? I think it's probably to make an ice cream now in the Far East someplace. But anyway, I think that is an outstanding commercial. Whoever did that one, I think, deserves an award of some kind whenever the advertising folks get together. San Diego, hello there.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing real. What do you think of that spot, really, that commercial?
There's another one, too, that they have, and it's one friend talking to another friend. I think they're both really good.
Oh, yeah, the guy that went to the Little League and ate all the ice cream?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's good. But this one, I think, with the kid, can't you see a young kid coming home and, well, he ain't very good looking anyway. He's kind of on the short side. I can see a kid was going to think of his stomach before her boyfriend any time at that age. Anyway, what's on your mind?
Well, real quick comment. A couple calls ago, you had a guy with a computer question, and you were concerned that they might have said something, they might have run something past you.
Yeah.
It sounded pretty clean to me.
Okay, I appreciate. I'm only kidding. I just don't know computers. What can I say?
Well, I'm a 20-year-old college student, and I'm struggling with sort of a fundamental question. I've been doing computer consulting out of my house for the last couple of years, and I can't help but think that if I went out and got an office and pursued it with more of a full-time vigor, I could do really well at it, and someday hopefully get into some other more interesting type of business. The flip side of that is I have a chance now to go out and live in the country and have fun, and I don't know. I just guess take life a little bit easier.
And do what?
Oh, well,
how do you keep the beans and rice on a plate?
That's not a problem.
Well, how do you do that?
Well, it's pretty cheap to live out there, and I've saved up a few bucks. And,
but that can't go on forever.
No, I don't think that I have to. Well, I'd be living in Colorado, and it's a little bit cheaper to live in Colorado.
Without regard to that, you still have to work. What would you do?
Well, the point is, I don't think I'd have to work as hard there as I would here.
That may or may not be the case, but you'd still have to work, wouldn't you?
Not too much. My parents are going to help me out.
Oh, well, but that won't last forever either.
No, it's just, I was going to go to school out there.
Oh, well, for how long?
3 years.
All right.
Anyway, I guess the question is, it's business versus pleasure. And
no. It's business versus an education right now.
Well, it's business and education here versus business and pleasure there.
Are you going to school now?
Yes.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Okay. So what you're saying is you're working part-time at the business and full-time student.
Right.
So either way, you're going to go to college for 3 years. It's just a question of where the venue will be.
Right, and I know that someday I'm going to become, the full-time entrepreneur, kind of like you are, and lots of different businesses, and that kind of intrigues me. And I guess the question is, do I do it now, or do I get through school and have fun and do it later?
That's up to you. You see, for me, working was fun. They couldn't separate the two.
Right.
But if you want to go out and be a playboy and whatever, and in the short shorts and whatever you're doing, I have no quarrel with that. If that's what turns you on, if there's a time to get it out of your system, it's now. If that's what you want to do. On the other side of that, if you want to have a leg up on the other guys, clearly the choice is stay where you are and do what you're doing.
Right.
But that's entirely up to you. But for me, the choice would be clear, but I certainly wouldn't make it for you.
Well, I guess looking back when you were a youngster and going to school, which one would you have opted for?
When I was your age, I was fighting a war. I mean, it's just a difference of, the way the cards happen to fall. You're 20 now, you said, right?
Yes.
I spent my entire 20th year in Korea during the war. I went there my 20th birthday. So I didn't have the choices available to me at your age, which is not I'm not crying about that. Don't misunderstand me. It's just it was a different life. I think that, I should point out, in fairness to the military, I enlisted. I wasn't drafted. I probably could have beat the draft either by staying in college, and I think the war would have been over anyway by the time I was draft age, so there was no problem. And they were starting to draft you around 22 at that time, so I don't think I had a problem in that regard. So I had nobody to blame, if that's the proper term, except myself for being where I was. But even there, I was an entrepreneur. Even in that situation, I was legally making a buck on the side.
Were you the regular Milo Minder-binder?
I was the Sergeant Bilko of my time. Do you know who he was? You're too young for that, too. And there was a television series, You'll Never Get Rich. Phil Silvers played Sergeant Bilko. The name Bilko obviously chosen. The guy was a conniver. Well, I was a conniver. Among other things, when I was... How old are you exactly?
Just turned 20. Okay,
well, I was about 20 years and 4 or 5 months. I was in Korea, where people were shooting each other and all that kind of good stuff, and I determined that around our part of the world, there was nowhere you get a cold soda. Couldn't get a cold soda anyplace. Ice was almost impossible to come by, and that ice that you could get your hands on, unless you were tied up with a mess hall someplace, was generally polluted. So you certainly wouldn't want to drop into a drink. You wind up with all kinds of strange and wonderful things. And I made a connection about 20 miles away in a place called Yangdong-po. I used to buy truckloads of Coca-Cola. 6x6 truckloads. Hauled it back, and then I made a connection for some ice, and I set up my own little store where I sold Coke for a dime. Paid a nickel and sold it for a dime. And made a very substantial amount of money for a guy in that kind of an environment. So I was a hustler then. What does that tell you about me? I would be staying where I am, because I would enjoy the combat of the business. The idea of just going off and going to school and doing little else would have had no appeal to me. That doesn't make it right. But you're asking me what I would have done had I had that choice to make at your age. I was in college. It was called, what was the name of the college? Iowa Christian University. That was the little piece of real estate that we were ensconced in at that time. It was a former private girls' school that we were living in. And that's what I was doing when I was your age.
Okay, well, thanks for your input.
Hey, the choice is yours, my friend. And you're fortunate you have a choice, aren't you?
Yes.
I do wish you well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a feeling there's at least one or two people out there that might have purchased a Coke or two from me. Listen, maybe we'll all hang out. What the hell? The statute of limitations has got to be out by this time. I had a James Way half, which is kind of a portable Quonset hut. The floor was wood, and the outside was canvas, and I had it all boxed in. I had a little houseboy called Mike, and I had a house poker game going on 24 hours a day. And Mike just sat there, took a quarter out of every pot. That's all he did. Every time the guys dealt, he took a quarter. It was all paper money, even paper quarters. And if you sat in the game, you had all the Coke and booze you wanted. My supply was free, and all we did was cut the pot for a quarter. The game went on for like 7 months, 24 hours a day. It was also moderately lucrative. At that time, the Korean money was won, W-O-N. The legal exchange rate was 6,000 to $1. Before they devaluated it to W-A-N or W-H-A-N or something, Juan, it got to about 40 to 50,000 to $1. But the legal exchange rate was still, if you went down to
Hillsboro, Oregon. Hello there, and welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
I've got a situation I'd like to get some advice on, please.
Let us talk.
Okay. My next-door neighbor has got 3 trees that are growing at an extreme rate. They're about 35, 40 feet high, and the roots are
tree.
Yeah, they are the poplar trees.
Oh yeah.
And the roots are coming over, and they're all over in our yard. They've already pushed up several boards on our fence, and they're heading for the foundation. We have talked to her several times about this, 3 times last summer and the summer before twice, and she agrees, oh, yeah, we're going to have to cut them down. We're going to have to cut them down, but she's not doing anything.
Well, why does she have to cut them down?
Well, she wants them down anyway.
Well, that's another, that's a whole other matter, but I mean...
Well, I don't know what we can do to stop the roots from coming into our yard and getting under our foundation.
Well, if they go near the foundation, to cut them at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you know, tree roots are not a respecter of property lines.
That's true.
I mean, it can't be. I mean, you know, when was it, who was the guy? The Tutu Joyce Kilmer talked about only God can make a tree.
Yeah.
God doesn't know about plot lines.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things.
But there is a multitude of roots coming across into our property.
Well, sure. You probably get a little water over there someplace, huh?
Well, we do water our yard very well.
Yeah, well, the roots are seeking out the moisture.
Okay, just go ahead and whack them off.
Well, yeah, now you got to be, hold on now. You got to be careful you don't damage the tree. Because if you damage the tree, you're responsible.
Even though it's on my side.
It doesn't matter. You're still responsible, but that doesn't mean you can't. If these trees are 30 or 40 feet long, just cutting off the roots going in one relatively modest direction, that 360 pi you got there, is not going to do any damage to the tree. Just cut them off.
Because, I mean, we mow the yard quite frequent during the summertime, and the darn roots sprout up. They get as much as 1.5 feet high in between mowings.
1.5 feet?
Yeah, in the summertime, it's the
roots
drier,
wait a minute, hold on. The roots or something growing off the root?
The shoots coming off the root.
Yeah, the shoots are meaningless. They're not going to hurt you any.
Oh no, I know that.
But the roots themselves.
That's how we track where the roots are.
Yeah, I understand that, but the roots themselves are growing. You said toward your foundation. Now, are they going to do any damage? I mean, I don't know. Are they going to do any damage to the foundation? I don't think so.
Well, they already have to hers.
How?
They have cracked the foundation.
They've actually penetrated the foundation?
Gone underneath it and pushed up on it and cracked it.
Well, how deep is the foundation?
No, that I don't know.
Well, in any case, you can cut them. Okay. Or you can take the things down. I mean, if they're that much of a problem.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I've got like outside of my kitchen, I got a tree that's got to be 3.5 feet in diameter. Now, aside from the fact that I've had to take some branches off that were, doing a number on my garage, that's got to have roots halfway to China, for crying out loud. And I don't recall any problem with the foundations.
Okay.
In fact, I know I haven't got any. And I mean, I'm not talking about a big tree. I'm not talking about something I'm talking about this tree's got to be 75, 80 years old.
Yeah, these trees are about probably 13, 14 years old.
Oh, it's only a puppy.
Yeah.
Only a puppy. Well, if you really got concerned, I'd start whacking at the roots.
Yeah, I just wanted to try and head off trouble. It's already affecting the fence. It's pushing the fence over.
Yeah.
And it's a cedar fence, and it's popping the boards off like it's going out of style.
Well, let's raise the fence a little.
Yeah, that we do. After it pops the board off, we have to nail it a little bit higher.
Well, why don't you just raise the whole fence?
Well, I never thought of that.
Okay, kid.
Okay, thanks for your help.
Good luck. All righty. Just part of the urban process, part of living with your neighbors. And as I said, trees, vines, they don't respect property lines. Shows their good sense. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
Hi, this is Bill Lally, executive producer of Talknet, wishing you and yours a very happy holiday season.
We shovel off to where else but Buffalo. Hello there.
Hello. I'm very nervous, I guess you could say.
Well, I understand that. What's on your mind, huh?
I'm snowed in, so I said, I'll call.
You mean Buffalo's having a snows this time?
Oh, of course, over a foot.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh, gosh.
But anyway, I had this job for like 2 years, and there's this guy that was at work who I have liked ever since I started, and he's been having problems at home for like the last 6 years, and he has 3 kids and a wife. And he asked me to go out, and I said yes.
You had 3 kids and a wife, you went anyway, huh?
Yeah. And we've been doing this, it'll be a year in January. But things have been kind of quiet for the last 3 months. But it's harder with working with each other every day. The relationship seems to be growing instead of going away. And I just don't know if I should leave my job and get away from everything and start over.
How do you feel?
I don't know. I'm looking for an opinion on somebody who doesn't know the situation.
How old are you?
21.
Okay, and how old is he?
32.
Do you think he's going to leave his wife and kids?
Well, he wanted me to pick up and leave home and move in with him, and when I said no, it was a totally different story. He didn't want to hear my end at all. He just wants what he wants. And
well, what's he going to do? He's going to leave his wife?
He said he would leave. He'd pick up and leave as soon as I did.
And 4 kids?
3.
3, 4, difference.
Yeah, so I don't know.
All right, let me lay some stuff that you're not going to want to hear. All right?
Okay.
If you want to figure out how a man or a woman is going to treat their next in line, whether it's girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, or whatever, okay?
Yeah.
Take a look at how they treated the last one.
I know. That's gone through my mind.
Because things are not going to change all that much. And if he's prepared just to walk out, this is not to say that nice people don't get divorced. I mean, I hope so because I'm divorced.
Yeah.
But it does happen. And I understand that. But just for a guy to pick up with a young woman at work with 3 kids, and he maybe have a very unhappy marriage and so forth, and that's those things happen too. But just to say to you, well, look, you got to move out first. You got to take the first move. What you do should not influence what he does.
That's what
if he's got a bad marriage and he wants out of it, understand that. But to predicate it on your move, that's either very immature, but more important, just unrealistic.
And then I have a job opportunity waiting, which is they're offering me $1.50 more than I'm making now.
What do you do?
But I'm a receptionist, word processor.
You live at home?
Yeah.
Your parents know about this?
No. No, they know absolutely nothing, which makes it even harder. Because I did bring it up once, and they were both livid with the idea that because he had 3 kids.
Well, your parents didn't handle that all that well either, because they cut the communication lines off, didn't they?
I didn't really give them an opportunity to speak.
Well, if they got livid, you must have told them enough.
Well, yeah.
By getting livid, I don't suppose you're going to go back and talk to them again.
No, I don't know. As much as I wanted to pick up and just go, there's so much going through my mind that says, no, don't, because look what he did before. I don't know.
You're asking my opinion. I think you ought to stay where you are at home, and you ought to cut the thing off and say, look, Charlie, after you leave your wife, after you get divorced, you kind of put your knuckles on the wood and come rapping.
Yeah.
But until that time, so you proved you're serious.
Yeah.
Because the other woman very rarely comes out with anything other than a bad case of nerves. Or the other man. Pardon me?
Nerves, ulcers.
Indeed.
Should I should leave?
Well, leave him or leave work?
No, leave work.
Well, first of all, if the other job is a better job, by all means grab it. But
it is money-wise, but other than that, I don't think it is. I have a ball here. I love it. That's what makes it even harder.
What does he do at work? In relation to you, is he a boss of some kind?
No, he's just an employee.
Well, just tell him to bug off.
But it's hard because we're alone most of the time. It's usually I'm up, I'm there and he's there and everybody else is gone.
In that case, go get yourself another job. Take the other job at $60 a week. More important, get out of his life.
Okay.
That's not what you wanted to hear.
No,
but it's what you knew you had to do.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Yeah.
So get on with it.
All right, I will. New Year's resolution, I guess.
No, tomorrow's resolution. Never mind New Year's.
Okay.
Serious?
Yeah. Go in and give my 2 weeks, I guess.
There you go.
Yep. Okay.
You learned something from all this.
Yep. I've been wanting to do this for a long time.
So get on with your life, honey.
Okay.
I do wish you well.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
That's difficult. It's difficult. And then, he without sin and all that sort of thing. But there's no point in putting a youngster through that. Metamora, Illinois. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Okay, what's on your mind?
Oh, I like your show. I've been listening to it quite a bit.
Well, thank you.
I have a tough question for you.
Well, one tough answer coming up.
Okay, 1st of December, I lost my job because the guy has the paychecks kept bouncing.
Well, that's a very good reason to leave.
Okay, so 4 days later, I went on and got another job. It was low hours, but enough pay to, pay a bill or two. So I've been working. I've been there on time, and I got a good, credit on my work and so forth. So today I got my first check.
Yeah.
And I went to the bank to cash it.
Don't tell me.
And they had trouble with it, and they can't get it cashed.
What in the world? What kind of work do you do?
I do cleaning, and I just picked up a job last week to do moving for an extra work. Okay?
I mean, how do you manage to find 2 bosses in a row that give you bad paper?
I don't know. But what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to make a decision if I should go back to them and go through the hassle again, trying to get my money, or should I go and tell the labor board? Because the last one I didn't do. I went and filed for unemployment, and he's trying to tell me I quit. Okay?
But you still got his bad checks?
Well, this one, no. This one I got today that I was supposed to get paid with, I got it today.
No, hold it. But the last guy?
No, I ended up getting it cash because I had bills to pay or I was going to lose what I...
Well, never mind. But your situation has no bearing on his paper. Did the last checks finally clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But this one won't because it's not the point, not the money in there, but the person that signed it wasn't authorized to sign it.
Well, that's a different matter.
Okay.
I'd go back to them tomorrow morning and say, look, maybe you made a mistake here.
I'm just scared because, I was supposed to pay my rent today, and that was part of it. And
well, I can't help that very much. I'd go see the guy tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And say, we got a problem here, and how about going down to the bank with me so we get this thing cashed because I have to pay my rent.
Yeah. But see, I'm scared because, like I said, I got word from the people I'm working for. He's good for this.
What can I tell you? He has a responsibility to pay you with good checks. I'm telling you what I would do. I'd go, see, there's a little mix-up here, but I'm really hurting for the money, so what do you say we go to the bank and you can cash it with me, and that way I can keep on working and I can pay my bills. He should understand that. Boston, Mass. Hello.
Hi, how are you tonight, Bruce?
Okay, kid. What's on your mind?
Good. Well, I feel I won a battle, but not a war. I was in a court case, a civil court case 2 years ago, and I won judgment for $3,600.
What was the nature of the case?
Well, it was, I bought a house, and after I passed papers, I found out that the floors were bad and had to be pulled out and replaced. And I filed suit, and the lawyer went into court with me, and we won the case for $3,600.
Are you on a speakerphone or something?
No.
Get a lot of feedback here. Do you have a radio on, maybe?
No, the radio's in the
Son of a gun. Okay, there's some kind of a technical glitch here. Go ahead.
And then soon after I won the case, they filed...
appeal?
Yeah, right, filed an appeal, thank you. And 2 years later, a couple of months ago, the case came up for a hearing, and before it could even be heard, actually, they withdrew. But a couple of things went on before then. They agreed to pay $100 a month for the next 3 years. And I didn't feel that was to my benefit because I thought that they had told me the defendant's lawyer said that she probably actually was ready for bankruptcy court, personal bankruptcy court. And I thought, well, $100 a month for the next 3 years, I'm liable not to collect anything. Anyway, they didn't follow through with the appeal. They withdrew the appeal. And then suddenly they're willing to borrow the money and pay me $2,500 cash. Now, I am entitled, of course, to 2 years of interest. I don't know whether...
Take the $2,500 and go.
Just walk away.
Absolutely.
The courts... well, I mean, after paying the third for the lawyer and everything, then I'm left with almost nothing in terms of what it cost me. But that's... Well,
wait a minute. Do you pay the...
They say, look, they promised today we only got 7. No, you got a serious problem with that.
Okay.
I don't, maybe I'm missing something here. I think you're overcomplicating something.
Okay.
There's no tour that I've ever seen that you don't pay for in advance.
That's right. But a lot of times when you buy something through a credit card, if you don't like the merchandise or if there's something wrong...
No, hold it. That's not true.
Okay.
Not if you don't like the merchandise.
Or if something's wrong with the merchandise.
That depends upon what is wrong and how it's handled.
Okay.
You do have a certain amount of protection, clearly, when you charge on the credit card, certainly more than you do in cash. But it is not meant to be an all-encompassing life raft.
Okay.
That if you get a cab that doesn't please you on the cruise, or the hotel room is over the parking lot and you really don't like the hotel over the parking lot.
Or the hotel's just partially built or something
That's
like that.
that is not meant for that.
Okay. That's why I'm calling. I just wanted to know if we had any recourse should something go wrong.
It would depend upon what. You get out of a hotel, they say, oh, never heard of you.
Right.
Well, yeah, you got some recourse, clearly.
Okay.
Not getting your money back. But it is not meant to be the complete, it's not meant to supplant your own good judgment about being stupid.
Right.
Now, I've heard people, I'll pay for it anyway. What difference does it make? Well, you can't do that, shouldn't do that. It's not smart.
Okay.
Take good care.
Okay.
Have a good trip. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more Talknet. Hello there, Cleveland. It's your turn.
Good evening, Bruce.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing real well.
I listen to you every night, and I never thought I'd have the opportunity, or I guess it's a dilemma. I mean, I don't know if that's the right word or not.
Well, I hope you'll solve the dilemma and come down and see me. I'll be in Cleveland next month.
Wonderful.
Toward the end of the month, 28th, I believe it is.
Right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, a little after.
Right after. Yeah. Listen, I'm 23 years old, and we are going to be getting married. We're just going initially and going to get engaged on November the 1st.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I guess I don't want to use the word problem, but I guess that's what it is. We have a diamond that we're going to get through a relative. She wants it to stay in the family, and she's unwilling to sell it to us under that pretense as long as if we want to upgrade years down the road, that it remains in the family. We went today and we looked at some settings. Okay. I guess we have a setting picked out, and we're going to probably be spending about $1,600 for the diamond and the setting.
You're buying the diamond from the relative.
Actually, what's happening? Our parents are going to help us out and loan us the money, but we're going to keep us out of finance companies.
Yeah, but the diamond itself, is that being given to you, or are you buying it from somebody?
We're going to buy it.
For how much?
For $1,000.
Okay, then you get $600 to spend on the setting.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I guess our main purpose is we don't really want to go that much more into debt because along with getting married, we're going to be getting a house.
Sure, I understand.
Trying to keep everything. Well, here's my point. I've got a man's pinky ring. It's a half-carat ring that I got through a friend of mine who wholesales jewelry about a year and a half ago. And I know I got a good deal on it for what I paid for it and what I actually what he did before I bought the ring. He said, take it any place you want to. Tell him you want to get a ring. This is your brother's ring or what have you. You want to get a ring made similar or as close to it as possible. And it's right around the $2,000 mark. They couldn't do anything. $1,900, $2,200.
Okay, so it's worth. Go ahead.
My question to you is, I want to go ahead, $1,600. Should I take it to the jeweler that we were at today? Looking at, we already got the setting picked out. It'll be ready next week. Should I make a deal with him, or will I?
What kind of a deal?
Well, I'd be willing to give up the ring.
Oh, the pinky ring. You want to sell the pinky ring?
And to take up the $1,400, or I might not even get that much.
You won't get anything like that much. If you get $800, $700, if everything you tell me is correct,
$8,
$7 would be high. Because when you buy retail. When you sell wholesale.
Well, I've had a couple. Somebody,
now if you sell it to
she's dead against it. She says, "Well, hold on to the ring because she knows I got a good deal from it."
Well, beyond that, if you like the ring, do you like it?
Yeah, but I would like it more if I saw it on her, and then I had the peace of mind knowing that it was paid for.
Well, that's a very nice. I don't quarrel with that. I say, how much you pay for this pinky ring?
$350.
All right, so you'll probably do better than that. You want to convert that to $400 or $500 or $600? Go ahead, but you're not going to get anything like that $2,000 number you talked about.
Right.
Just doesn't work that way. But persuade yourself of that. Because I don't get 3 or 4 guys to give you prices and what they'll pay for this thing.
Mm-hmm. Should I go to a different? Because this jeweler we went to, I basically know something about the color and the clarity. And,
well, you know more than I do.
And he gave us the ball. He didn't try to highball us and take us out in orbit.
Mm-hmm. Well, ask him what he'll pay. Look,
right.
There's a half a dozen places in your town, I'm sure, that will buy jewelry.
Right.
All you can do is ask, how much will you give me? That's all. Now, if they ask you, how much will you take? Walk.
Don't.
They're trying to set you up.
Okay.
They should be able to tell you, without asking you, how much they'll be willing to pay.
Right.
Not how much did the other guy offer. Not how much do you want.
Right.
This is what we'll pay. And if they handle it any other way, in my opinion, you're dealing with a guy you don't want to deal with.
Right. So basically, I guess I'm on the hot seat now, and I'm looking to get $400, $500, $600 right off the top.
Well, see, I don't know if it'll bring that. It may. I don't know. How I know sitting here?
Right. Yeah.
But there's another possibility too.
What's that?
Put an ad in the paper. You could sell it retail. Might be able to get $1,000 for it that way.
Right.
If you have an appraisal of $2,000, put an ad in the paper. Describe it. Half-carat pinky ring, so forth. Appraise that. And if you got a written appraisal, willing to sell for. Who knows? You might be able to move it that way. I would be a little reluctant to have people come into my house at night.
Yeah.
But you can meet them on neutral turf in the lobby of a bank or at work or something like that. Good luck, kid.
Thank you.
I can appreciate a smart young man doesn't want to go into Major League Hock for an engagement or a wedding ring, and I think that is very, very smart. Jefferson City, Missouri. Hello there. Your turn.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm one of your nobodies, Bruce.
I'm delighted, sir. Thank you. Are you there? What happened to Jefferson City? Are you there, Jefferson City? What in the world happened that time? Oh, Lordy, this system, I am going to tear it out by its roots. I'm Bruce Williams. We'll see if we get it back in order. Jefferson City, if you're listening, please give us a shout, huh? This is Talknet. Roanoke, Virginia. Hope we don't lose you. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. My next-door neighbors and I live in a pair of 5-year-old houses.
You live in a pair of them?
Well, we both have houses that were built at the same time.
Okay.
And we both share one well that's situated between the homes.
It must be on somebody's property, one or the other.
Yeah, and it's probably on the other guy. The electricity that runs the pump is coming from his house.
Okay.
So over the past 5 years, I've given him $40 a year for the electricity, which we both feel that's pretty much in the ballpark for what power I'm using for.
Do you rent or own this house?
Own. We both own.
Ooh. Why would you? Well, go ahead. This must have been owned by one party at one time.
Well, the builder, I guess. Were both new when they were bought like this.
Is that right? I'm amazed that anybody would allow them to do that.
Well, people learn things.
I don't mean you. I'm talking about the community. You know, one well for 2 homes doesn't make any sense.
Well, we really basically have no problems. It's not been a problem for us, but the reason I'm calling is because in the event that he moves or I move, I don't know whether it would be a big turnoff for a potential buyer.
Well, I think it would. Would certainly turn me off.
Well, in the event that I don't think my neighbor or I would ever have a problem, but
what happens if he dies or you or you die or something in that order?
Well,
and a real stinker moves in next door.
That's why I'm calling. Should we have some kind of agreement drawn up so that the responsibilities of the
2 parties,
pardon me,
the 2 parties' responsibility should be spared out.
Right.
Yours and his, mostly his. First of all, you got to determine who owns the well.
Right.
And we don't know that. You said you think it's on his property, but you don't know.
Okay, I've just taken for granted that it's shared mutually between the 2 homes.
Well, you can't do that.
Okay.
You may have an interest in it, but it's on either his property or yours, even if you split the property, which would be almost impossible to do with a driven well, right? First of all, you got to decide whose property it's on.
Right.
Now, if that means checking the survey or having a survey done, and so be it, get it done. Then you'll have an agreement, because how can you decide who signs what way unless you know who owns it? The fact that the electricity is coming from his home determines why you pay.
Right.
But that doesn't determine ownership, does it?
No.
So I would determine who owns the well, and then that person gives a life estate until such time as city water is available and all that sort of jazz. He will provide, he will do. What happens if the well fails? Whose responsibility is it to put a new one in? That should be spelled out. Who would make the decision as to who chooses the well driller?
Right.
It may spell it out. You say, well, we're each responsible, right? And now you come in with well driller A, I come in with well driller B. How do we decide that?
Right.
Well, I would think the guy whose property it's on would make that decision. I think that would be reasonable. There's just a whole bunch of again, you've never had any problems with this well, I take it.
Not yet.
What happens if the foot valve goes out? You got to strip the well, pull up the pipe, the whole routine. That costs money.
Correct.
Who pays? In what proportion? Yes. And the worst thing is, you guys are good friends. That's fine. But if he moves, what then? You got a real stinker in there. I use my well, boom, and he cuts off your pipe. Now what?
Well, that's basically the reason I'm calling for the arrangement of future protection.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a lousy situation. I don't understand how your community allowed that to happen. It really is. If you're dependent on your own water supply, you ought to have your own well.
Right.
Let me ask you the hard question too. How deep you got to go to get water in your part of the world?
I think ours is around 100 feet.
Oh, that's cheap enough. Then you're not real serious. I mean, if you see, you get a 1,000-foot well, that's big time money.
Sure.
100-foot well is not that serious. If push came to shove, I'm looking, worst case scenario, wouldn't cost you that much to replace it. But yes, I would reduce it to ready. I think you're very perceptive.
Okay, and I presume this is something that a lawyer should draw up.
Well, wouldn't you think so?
Well, I've never had to go to a lawyer to have something done, really.
Well, did you have a lawyer when you bought the house?
Oh yeah, but that's just part of the deal.
Part of the chair. Well, law is very much part of our life, I'm afraid. Yeah, you want it done properly, because if it wasn't done properly, and you get the stinker next door, and he finds a glitch in the thing, he's going to try to break it with that glitch, isn't he?
Possible.
Why would you want to give him that kind of ammunition to save a couple $100 or $100, whatever it is?
Right.
No, I think first of all, you want to write down the contingencies that you and I have discussed, and any others that may come to mind, and then an attorney of your mutual choice puts it into the proper verbiage, and then has it properly executed.
Okay.
By both you and your respective spouses, assuming the property's in their names.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you, Bruce. Life
used to be so simple, huh? Well, and then they invented lawyers. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. 1070 WIBC. Jefferson City, Missouri. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hello.
How you doing, Tiger?
Got lost here a while ago with you.
Yes, I apologize. We have this Model A equipment in the jet age here.
We're going to have to get you to come to Jeff City sometime.
I would like that. All you got to do is get me invited, man. My bags are packed.
All righty.
What's on your mind?
Here's my situation, Bruce. On the 1st of June, we moved. A month prior to moving, I went to a major company that rents moving vans.
Yeah.
And I told them I needed a 17-footer.
Oh,
and made a down payment on it.
A do-it-yourself proposition.
A do-it-yourself, right.
Yeah. When was this?
I rented it on the 1st of May.
Oh, I think you said something about 3 years ago or something.
Nothing.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and the 1st of June, when I went to pick it up, they said they had none at that size. They said, I'll give you a 26-footer at no extra cost if you'll take it. And I grabbed it. I needed something to get moved. I had to get out.
Okay.
All right. When I signed a deal with them, they talked me into insurance coverage, and it covered equipment damage waiver, cargo protection, and life and medical protection.
Gee, everything but pregnancy, huh?
Right.
Boy.
How about that?
Yep.
Can't beat that. Anyhow, what happened, when I got to my destination, coming off of a blacktop road, and a driveway that I have to go up in the apartment complex where I live is also blacktop, and it's a fairly good-sized hill. And the back end of the truck got grounded on the
bottom
street.
Down? Yeah. It was a very severe dip, you mean?
Apparently it was.
Yeah, okay.
Well, because it was a bigger truck than I was anticipating anyhow to start with.
Yeah. But is this on your private driveway?
Well, it's a private driveway coming into the apartment complex where I live.
But is this the kind of thing that the people travel in and out all day long?
Right.
As contrasted with the driveway at my house where the basketball court is. In other words, it's not a little driveway you just pull up on the lawn.
No.
This is a regular road into the apartment.
Blacktop road that all the tenants here use.
Uh-huh.
There's a dozen tenants here.
Yeah, all I'm trying to get to is that it would seem to me it should conform to grade restrictions that you would have on a regular road. And given that, I'm surprised it would be so severe that the back of the truck would bottom out. You really got to have a steep truck, a steep hill to do that.
Well, it goes up grade about 35 degrees maybe.
35 degrees?
Yeah, it's quite a hill.
I guess it is at 35 degrees. Go ahead.
Well, anyhow.
5 degrees is a pretty good hill.
It's a pretty good hill. Anyhow, I had to pay a tow truck to back me up off of the hill.
Yeah.
And that cost me. And then in the process of this tow truck backing me down onto the road again, we damaged some of the belongings inside the truck.
How'd you do that?
Apparently they got jostled around, and when they had to lift the back end of the truck up with the tow truck.
Boy, you really jammed it, huh?
Well, it was embedded into the blacktop out there, right? You know, I made a little dent in the blacktop, not a whole lot, but.
What was it that little frame underneath? Is that what's jammed in?
No, the back end of the truck where they have a ramp. The steel end of the back end of the truck, which I don't know how much that thing would weigh back there.
All right, go ahead.
But that's embedded into the blacktop.
Are you talking about
the blacktop?
Are you talking about the lift, the tailgate?
Mm-hmm.
The lift.
No. It had not a lift. It had one of those racks that you ran out.
All right, go ahead.
A ramp that you ran out under the back end.
I understand what you're talking about.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So anyhow, after I finally got the thing, I got it back down on the street, and we backed the truck up here. Finally, the tow truck drivers, that's the only way you're going to get it in there.
Right.
So we backed it up, and the next day I turned the truck in, and I turned in a damage complaint to the insurance carrier.
For what?
For the damage for my cargo that was in there. I damaged some of my possessions.
All right, and
a towing charge for pulling the truck off of the driveway. And the insurance carrier said they would not pay it. That was my carelessness that I drove up the hill. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
All right.
You're supposed to know. I know you wouldn't know, and I can understand why you might not. But you're supposed to know what a vehicle will or will not do. You're supposed to know how big it is so you don't drive under the wrong bridge. And you're supposed to know what the tolerances are. And anytime you must have been whacking right along when you're up that driveway.
No, we're going 5 miles an hour.
That's hard. I don't want to be argumentative, but I don't believe that. It might have seemed like 5 miles an hour, but I bet you're going closer to 15 or 20. To jam it in that tight, not 5 miles an hour.
Well,
just take your car out and drive.
The only reason it jammed in, there's a rain gutter in the concrete out on the street, and then that dipped down, and that's what made the wheel go down in there, and the back end stuck.
Well, I think I don't know about the contents is a separate issue. I don't know what restrictions there are on that.
But there's cargo protection that I carried on the policy.
Yeah, I understand that, but then we get into, did you pack it properly? If it was packed properly, would this have happened? And secondly, it's not a question in my mind about the when you stick a truck, you're wrong, in my opinion. You don't know the capability or the lack of capability of the truck. You ever in the service?
Yeah, sure was. I was in the Navy in World War II.
Okay, you ever drive a truck in the service?
Oh, Jeeps. I didn't know that.
Well, when you signed that thing out of the motor pool, if you remember, you told them that you'll be responsible to know what it'll do, what it won't do, and you won't do things it won't do. And I think that's a reasonable position. I go through the Holland Tunnel pretty regularly. Okay. I'm going to go through it in about a half an hour, the good Lord willing.
Okay.
And they got a big sign up on top of the Holland Tunnel that says 13 feet 2 inches, and we mean it. They got a big steel girder up there. You're going to lift the top right off your truck if you're 13 foot 3 inches or whatever the number. I guess 13 3. Oh, I get a kill, and we mean it. I just think those are things you got to know when you're driving a truck. And when in doubt, you don't.
Well, what would be the difference if I just drive my own personal vehicle and it plowed into a tree? They pay the collision damage.
Well, you're absolutely right, and that's an interesting point. The towing is what I'm talking about. I'm not disputing the cargo thing. If they insured the cargo, whether you're careless or not, it seems to me that they're on the hook for that.
Well, they won't pay it.
Well, they won't pay it. Just because they say they won't pay it doesn't mean they don't have to pay it.
Right.
What does that mean? We got to go to court. How much money are we talking about here?
Oh, what I'm talking about, $200 damage, and then plus the towing, which was $40.
Well, what do you have to lose by going to small claims court?
Well, the insurance company isn't local.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I had to haul them in from out of state.
Did you do business with a local rent-a-car place?
When I purchased it, I turned it in at a local place.
Where did you rent it?
Where?
In a different state?
Yes, I rented it in Kansas.
But the company does business here, right?
They're doing business nationwide.
I'm quite sure you can serve them at the office where you turned them in. They're doing business in your county.
All right.
That's what I would do. And your position is that's where I make the claim at this end.
Make it at this?
No, your position is.
Right. Okay.
I made the claim in Jefferson City, Missouri. That's why I'm making the claim here. In the court here. You denied it in Jefferson City, Missouri. You didn't deny it back there. You denied the claim here. What do you have to lose?
Not a whole lot.
Well, go for it then. There's a very good possibility when you take it to court, just to the nuisance value, they may settle with you. The towing, I could argue. I really think that you're responsible there. But unless there's something in that policy that says clearly, if you did something that was totally irresponsible, then we have to define what that means. I think you still got them.
I just going by the broad term. It said cargo.
Yeah, but did you read the policy?
No, I haven't read word for word.
Well, you got to do that word for word. Unfortunately, get hold of the policy before you go to court. Clearly, you want to suit the policy.
Well, very definitely. I got to know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, absolutely so. Here come the judge. I wish you well, kid.
All right. I'll be in touch with those people. The town is Fulton, where they have this coming in from.
I would like that.
20 miles out of Jeff City. So, man, you've never been here, I guess.
I have not been there.
I'll have to get you down there.
Take good care, my friend.
Thank you now.
I'm Bruce Williams, and I would enjoy getting to your part of the world, and that's fact. This is Talknet. Well, if we go to Fair Lawn, NJ. Hello there.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Good evening. I can't believe that I'm speaking to you. Thanks for taking the call. I'm in a dilemma. My wife is a teacher, and while she was teaching, her car was stolen.
Oh, how nice.
From the parking lot.
Yep.
She got out, she reported to the police and our insurance company. The police notified us that night. They found the car smashed up. The front end is totally smashed.
Yeah, that's probably kids joyriding.
Probably. Well, we went down. Our insurance company looked at the car today, and they told us that it's totaled.
What year was your car?
It was an 88. Okay. Relatively new. They're going to give us very little for it.
Well, little is a relative term.
Well,
they'll give you what it's probably...
A couple $1,000.
What's that? Seligman Company, who's sponsoring this little visit, has contributed everything over and above the cost of the room to the Marine Corps College Scholarship Fund. Translated, if you pick up a ticket at the door now, the entire $5 will go to the Marine Corps College Scholarship Fund. In any case, tomorrow evening around about 7 o'clock, we'll be doing our thing in the Fairlane Manor in Detroit, or actually in Dearborn. If you're in the neighborhood, hope you drop by. Cleveland, Ohio, your turn. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. My problem is this. 6 months ago, I had a little baby boy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And as a gift for some friends, we got 6 weeks of a diaper service.
All right.
When the baby was born, he was real small, so the diapers were too big. We didn't use them. We continued using disposables.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went back to work, my babysitter requested that the baby uses disposables just for the ease and the convenience.
Mm-hmm.
So I called the diaper service and explained that to them, and they said, that's fine, we can give you a refund, but the only way you could get the refund is if we take it off your friend, the gift giver's MasterCard, and she reimbursed you the money. And I want to know what's the difference? If he's refunding the money anyway, what's the difference if he gives it to me or takes it off her MasterCard?
Well, first of all, let's assume for the sake of discussion it cost $100, right?
Okay.
He only got 96 or 97.
Okay.
Do you understand why?
Well, MasterCard charges you.
Of course, it charges the merchant.
Sure.
And customarily, for a lot of reasons, the card companies do not want you giving cash refunds when something has been charged, because for one thing, that becomes a vehicle for if you want to, and this gets a little esoteric, okay? You could raise an awful lot of cash and not pay any interest on it doing that.
I see.
What they do. Well, there was a time. Now things have changed. You're a young lady. You just had a young rugrat, all right? But there was a time here, not so many years ago, if you were a merchant for one of the bank cards, you were not allowed to have one yourself.
Why is that?
Because you could use the float to use their money to buy merchandise and whatever and run it through your own store and never buy any merchandise. And they didn't want that happening. They would prefer, and I will tell you this, if you came into one of my stores, I'd tell you the same thing. I would not give you cash, absolutely not. I'd say we'll give you a credit on the account to which it was charged.
Okay, I guess then it's not unreasonable for him to do that.
Absolutely not. It's perfectly proper. I don't know anybody who gives cash refunds on a charge. They give you credit. I've never, ever known anybody who would do that.
Yeah, well, I just couldn't understand the logic until now of, if he was giving a refund anyway, why I couldn't get it. Because really what happens now, if I don't go back to my friend, which is kind of embarrassing.
There goes the gift.
There goes the gift, and I'm out to actually $72.
Well, why don't you just use the diapers, you rascal?
Well,
cloth diapers are the better way to go.
Well, I might have to for 6 weeks and just tell my babysitter to bite the bullet or something.
Well, it just seems to me, you have to understand, I'm in a different generation.
Right.
But I really think that you're really not very responsible socially using disposable diapers.
Well, actually, the reason I had intended on using the cloth was because of the environmental reasons, and I'm all in favor of that. But you also, they use a lot of water and detergent, and there's a downside.
That is so much nonsense. You think those disposable diapers just jumped out of the ground and didn't have to be processed and whatever?
Oh, you're right. I agree with you there.
And water is clearly a renewable resource.
What about all the detergent that they use?
I don't find a problem with that whatever. No problem whatever. I'd far prefer that than dumping human waste into a dump where it doesn't belong.
Right. No, I have a problem with it too. Maybe I'll try the diapers and decide I love them, but
I don't think you're going to love them. Be candid with. Look, I'm not going to be ingenuous here. I haven't changed a diaper in a long time till I finally got a grandson.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm in the diaper business again here. Hey, let me tell you something. It's like riding a bike. You never forget. Whack, whack, sling this nut. Matter of fact, it's a whole lot easier today with the Velcro and whatever it is with diaper pins.
Right.
And furthermore, you don't skewer the little rugrats. You never run this pin. I used to always stick run it right to their gut. Anyway. I know how easy it was to use the disposables, okay? But I really don't think it's a great hardship, given all of the other things, to use the cloth diaper. With a Velcro fastener and so on and so forth. And my daughter-in-law, as this is what she's saying right now, you dummy, you father, I'm not giving up. I know what she's thinking, Nancy, so don't think that way. But I really believe that there's a place, I think on vacations and on airplanes and whatever, disposable diapers are certainly appropriate. But I don't think in the home it's a big deal to use the ones that are reworked.
Well, I'll tell you, after
Personal
6
point of
weeks,
view.
I'm going to try it.
Why?
I can't get my money back. I certainly don't want the diaper service to have my money, so I'm going to use them. And
Well, the diaper service wouldn't have it. Your friend would. But why not give it a shot? You may like it.
yeah, okay.
Okay,
I will.
sweetheart.
All right, thanks, Bruce.
It's been a joy. I'm going to be in you're in Cleveland, right?
Yeah, I saw you when you were at the front row, and we had a wonderful time. Are you going to be there again?
I'll be in Cleveland next month, November 28th. We just did the deal yesterday.
Terrific. I'm penciling it in. I'm going to be there.
You and I have a date. Bring the troll along.
Okay. Well, he's kind of noisy. I don't know.
That's all right, but bring him in the reusable diapers. Fair enough? I'm going to check.
Okay.
I wish you well, baby. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. We go to WNIS country, Virginia Beach, Virginia. It's your turn. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
How you doing, Tiger?
All right, I appreciate you taking our call here. I'm having a little problem with our local government, I guess. Is the best way to say
Well,
it.
isn't that a regular thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm attempting to expand my current business. We provide services to retail establishments.
Can you tell me what kind of services?
Assembly services of merchandise for display, customer use, things along those lines.
All right.
Well, I want to bring this to the public, and I've got a way to do it. I've got the vehicle. I've got the stores to help me out as far as referrals. I mean, all kinds of things. I've done my homework. There's a market for it here.
Mm-hmm.
It includes delivery, things along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is I don't fit into a zoning category.
I mean, nobody ever anticipated this particular use, therefore it's not described in the zoning ordinance.
Well, I fit into three. I mean, I fit into, clearly in some respects, I fit into repair of merchandise.
Yeah. Isn't there an all other?
Excuse me?
In your zoning ordinance, isn't there an all other?
No. Well, I haven't done as much research because I didn't think it was a problem until the day when I went to get my inspections and permits and everything.
What you want to open up? Well, let's start from square one, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
You want to open it in a retail district?
Correct.
Okay, in a store of some kind.
A storefront operation rather than an industrial park.
Okay, and they're saying that this is not an appropriate use.
Well, they didn't know it. They had to get a few of them together, and they finally determined that I sort of qualified for one, but not for the other. But just to be safe, they wanted to put me in manufacturing, which is far-fetched.
Well, do you manufacture by definition?
Definition is put together.
Well, not necessarily. It would be maybe put together. It may be a little more complex than that. Maybe, perhaps not. I would think assembly would be to put together. Manufacturing would be taking a material and changing that material into something else.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, at the end of this discussion, they determined that I belonged in this category, and I don't know where to go from here because I don't feel that it's fair to me because I don't really fit into that category as it's defined.
Well, first of all, the guy you're talking to on the street is probably a fairly low-placed individual.
I was head of whatever their department. I mean,
he's probably
they were very respectful.
I understand that. They just they're perplexed. They're bureaucrats.
Right. Where do I go?
Well, the ultimate answer is the Board of Adjustment.
Okay.
Because you see, zoning is an imperfect science, I think, and you certainly are prepared to testify to that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where they're coming from. I just feel that I have a case that is a little different than the norm, maybe.
Well, maybe the first thing I would do is sit back tonight and take a look at the zoning ordinance.
Right.
And then redescribe what you're doing so it fits.
Well, we tried that. Because, what if I make more of my operation geared towards this?
Once you're open, who's going to care?
Well, I don't want in 2 years down the road to have a big mess on my hands if I've got a real successful operation.
If worse comes to worse, then you go to the Board of Adjustment.
Okay.
I would tailor it. There must be. Have you read the zoning ordinance?
Today I did.
Yeah, but you see, that was foolish.
Well,
no, I'm serious.
Yeah, I know. I made a mistake.
These are things you read ahead of time.
Right.
You never ask a question of a bureaucrat. Never ask a question of a bureaucrat unless you know the answer.
Right.
Now, I would sit down with a zoning ordinance, and I would go through there and find out something you fit in and say, this is what we want to do. They can't come down every day and inspect. You do deliveries. You do whatever services you provide, and so on and so forth.
Right. The repair part of it would get me in right now, which is actually about 70%.
Well, say it's 100%. Lie. Say it's 100%. I'm serious. That's what I would do.
All right, thank you.
And I don't consider that a big black lie either. Good luck, my friend. I'm going to comment on zoning in a minute. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet. 1070 WIBC. Texarkana, Texas. What's on your mind?
Yes, Bruce. Thanks for taking my call.
Not at all, Tiger. What's happening?
Okay, I need some help with some how to get return on stolen property.
I beg your pardon?
Okay,
you're a thief?
No. I sold some of my rifles that were used for hunting and target practice to a reputable dealer. I had been dealing with him myself for about 8 years and friends many years before that. Okay, with some of the money I got to buy another gun, and then I turned around and used some of that back to buy a gun from him. Now, that was about April of 81. I moved.
You sold some stuff to the guy, you spent the money.
No, I sold some guns
to
him.
A dealer, and then you went out and bought one from him and one from somebody else.
No, I in turn used part of that money to buy one back from him.
Yeah, well, one of the ones you sold him?
No, it was one that I bought from him. Now, that was in April of 81.
Yeah.
Now, I moved down here to Texarkana, and I'm thinking about, I hadn't used it in a while down here, so I think about selling it. I take it to a gun shop, the guy runs a check on it. It had been stolen in Tulsa in November of 78. Now, this dealer should have run a check on it.
Indeed.
That's what the other deal. And, okay, the sheriff came out and confiscated the gun.
Absolutely.
Okay. It's still sitting there. They don't really know what to do with it. The thief had been caught, and he's in jail. The guy that had the merchandise stolen has been compensated by the insurance company, whatever.
That doesn't matter.
Okay, I'm out. Now, what is my recourse through...
I mean, I have no notion. You see, there's no statute of limitations on having stolen property. And the fact that you were perfectly innocent doesn't in any way protect you from losing the stuff.
No.
Wait a while. But I don't know. And this is illegal. First of all, we have to talk about the state where this happened. What state was this in?
Okay, I purchased this in Alaska.
All right. Then you got to find out in the state of Alaska whether or not there's any statutory limitation on the part of a dealer who has done exactly what you've described. I mean, I knew a lady one time. She bought an almost brand new car from a franchise dealer. It was a hot car, and she paid cash, and the FBI picked up the car. End of story.
I can understand that part.
And she didn't get a nickel from the dealer. She didn't get a nickel from the dealer. Not a nickel. They kept them running around in circles for years.
Well, see, the reason I'm saying that is usually I don't know how car dealers are now, but back then, you had to, even back that far, you had to keep records, and she should have checked it for
that's another question, you see. I don't know how long, in most businesses, 7 years is considered the period of time when you can dispose of your records. Now, whether or not a gun dealer has to maintain records for, in this case, 9 years, almost going on 10, is another whole question. The first thing you ought to do is pick up your phone and give a real fast shout up to Juneau and ask what the laws are in Alaska with regard to this. I'm certain that gun dealers are licensed. Given the fact they're licensed, they operate under certain constrictions and restrictions.
Right. He has a federal license. He's got a Class 3. He could even sell automatic weapons.
Well, the point being, you got to find out what his responsibilities are and what limitations the state allows. How much money is involved?
I'd say I'm out about around 2 to 3. There's
not even not worth pursuing.
2 to 3,000.
Oh, 1,000.
No, yes. This is a one of a kind gun.
Huh.
Put it that way, because of the serial number and everything on it. It's like a collector's item, put it that way. That's why I got it.
I'd be on the horn to Juneau to find out precisely what laws in Alaska would apply. You mentioned it's a federal license. There may be some responsibilities that you should be aware of under the federal license. I am not.
Okay.
But you have to find out what his responsibilities are before you can find out what your redress is. I take it he's still in business.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you this. Did you call the guy?
Yes, I called up there. In fact, I called from the sheriff's office.
Well, what does he say?
I went down to the sheriff's. I called up there, and they said he was out of state purchasing guns.
All right.
So I left my number, and he hasn't called back.
How long ago was this?
Maybe a week or so.
Well, he may be still gone. First thing I do is discuss it with him. Maybe come to some accommodation with him.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, but it's certainly worth a shot.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I'll make that phone call. But let's face it, you can call right now It's only 3:30 in Alaska.
Right.
Give them a call up at Juneau and find out what the laws are.
Okay. So you would, without knowing what the specific laws for each state, you would have no advice to give me as far as what to check on or...
Well, I'm telling you what to check on. You check and find out, A, if there's any statutory limitation on his responsibility to keep records.
Okay.
Whether he is considered vulnerable if he doesn't check, and was the mechanism in place 12 years ago to make that kind of check? I don't know that. He may say, I checked and nothing showed up, which is entirely possible.
Okay.
Is he still responsible? Don't know the answer to that. And what federal responsibilities? You can make a phone call tomorrow about that and find out exactly, since he has a federal license, what his responsibilities are. That just takes full effort on your part.
Okay.
Good luck, kid.
Oh,
yeah.
Could I make one comment?
I don't see why not.
Okay. Several times I've heard last night, I don't know how, maybe you're taped or what.
We were live.
Okay, there was a man talking about a dress and his credit card.
Yeah.
And before there was a woman that had charged a hotel room and she couldn't get. I had a problem with that. What I did, the person so angered me, he was really rude, that I called back to the main bank that issued the card. I told her the story, and she did a thing called back charging.
Yeah, I understand that. You can back charge, but you have to have legitimate reason to back charge. When you when you use your credit card to make a deposit, that doesn't mean you get your deposit back just because the merchandise, you don't have no use for the merchandise. That's the purpose of a deposit.
Right.
On the other side of that, if merchandise was not delivered, then you can back charge. Or if you can demonstrate the merchandise was faulty and you made every other effort, you may get a back charge. But it's just not a question that's automatic.
Okay, what this was I gave them authorization to use it for a first payment only. Then it was supposed to be cash.
Well, fine. And
they kept billing me.
Well, it's fine. And they did not do what they were authorized to do. That's a different matter again. But with the impression that you don't want to give people, it's an automatic. You can always walk away from a credit card purchase because that isn't true. That's all.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
I do wish you well. Good luck with the weapon, my friend. I'm Bruce Williams. You betcha. This is Talknet. Montgomery, Alabama. What's on your mind?
Good evening, Bruce.
How are you?
I thought I might pick your brain, get some advice from you on...
Be gentle, man, with the brain picking. I mean, there's not that much to go around.
Well, I have a small problem.
Sure.
I purchased 2 lots in a planned community. One was a lakefront lot and one was a home lot.
What's the difference?
Well,
I understand. I mean, can you put a home on a lakefront?
Well, the lakefront lot is a lot that it faces.
Yeah, I understand. No, but I mean, can you you can still build on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In fact, that's the problem. The builder came to me afterwards and said, when are you going to start construction on your lakefront property? And I said, well, maybe 5 to 10 years when I start getting ready to retire, I'm going to put a cabin up there. He says, no. He says, you got to build on it now. And I said, no, there's, how do you get this? We never agreed to any of that. So he's attempting to put in a deed restriction that you have to build on the property within 6 months of purchasing.
Let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
It is a fait accompli that you have purchased this property.
Oh, yeah, it's been a done deal for almost a year.
All right, fine.
Okay.
Now, here we go again. Were you represented by counsel when you purchased
this? Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Oh, splendid.
And my counsel says, no way,
Well, you can't retroactively pass a deed restriction unless all the property owners affected agree with it.
But that's the problem. You see, the builder is 51% owner in the planned community. As long as he owns property, 51% of the property, he has 51% of the vote.
Yes, but is that what the bylaws of the organization call for? It just takes a simple 51.
Yeah, as long as he owns 51% of the property.
He can pass a deed restriction retroactively.
Well, he has the majority vote.
Without regard to that.
Oh, okay.
I'm asking you. I'm asking. Can he I can understand how he can pass an association rule, but a deed restriction is a different matter.
Yes, and my attorney says there's no way, but it would probably end up costing me $2,000 or $3,000 if he put the deed restriction in. Just if he tried hauling me into court,
Well, he wants to do it but how can he insert a deed restriction retroactively?
Well, he can't. That's a problem. He can put a deed restriction on the property. He can take me to court. He will lose. My attorney said there is no way that he would win.
Yeah, but
the problem is I'm already out $2,000 or $3,000.
Well, that's always the case. I mean, you get audited by the IRS, come out squeaky clean, you still got to pay your accountants.
Well, that is also true. I was just wondering if you had any ideas on a way that I could work this thing out.
Let me ask this of you. First of all, how many properties are there in this development?
In the original development, there were 160. However, he purchased some farmland, and he sold all 160 of those.
What I'm trying to get to is how many people are in your boat? How many people would be equally outraged if they were forced to build?
Oh, no one, because everyone who bought one is building.
Except you.
I'm the only one who is not. I built the house in the on the home lot, residential lot.
Mm-hmm.
And what I plan to do 5 to 10 years is to build a lakefront property, sell the house in the residential area, move to the lakefront property, and just retire there.
Okay.
And that was my plan.
Why didn't you just build on the lakefront first?
Well, at the time that I first started, that I purchased the property, there was no development in that area.
Uh-huh.
It was all in the residential area. But apparently he has sold so many lots up on the lakefront property, and people are starting to build up there now.
See, I could see how he could do this through the homeowners association.
Yeah.
Not through a deed restriction.
Well, that's what he tried to do, the reverse deed restriction thing, and then he said, well, then I'm just going to put in a covenant in the bylaws that says that when you purchase, you have to build a structure of fitting the requirements of the association on the property within 6 months of purchasing the property.
Well, I think you're maybe resigned to the fact it's going to cost you you got two choices: either concede and build, or alternatively, your attorney, I think, has pretty good reason to give you the advice he's giving you.
Yeah.
You gotta beat him in court, and that's going to cost you a couple, 3 G's or more.
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm not building is because I put all the money, that I had into building the house that they're building now.
That's covered.
So, I think of any way that would. My attorney said, the best thing for you to do is if he's going to hassle you like this and put in that homeowners association, is to build a dog house that conforms to the requirements of the association on the property.
I don't agree with that.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
But he's in the trenches. Don't let me contravene what he's telling you.
Well, no, he said that would satisfy the requirements of the covenant.
A dog house? I mean, clearly.
Well, as long as it fit the mode.
Certain things to help promote it.
Like what?
Well, for instance, there are colleges that are probably willing to put on a CUME tournament if they think CUME is a good enough game to.
Well, you keep mentioning the name of your game, and I'll let you get away with that. But I mean, there's a limit.
All right. What I'm trying to say is, if they would do that, but
what's wrong with that? You can do that.
Well, you mean I can do it on my own?
Certainly.
Oh, and when I use the name, even though it's trademarked, and
but you created it, did you not?
Oh yeah, the trademark is in my name, but it's their. The contract puts it in their hands.
Well, I suspect that you ought to discuss this with them, but they are not going to.
No, I haven't.
I said I suspect that you ought to discuss this with them.
Okay.
But clearly, they are not going to object to anything that generates interest in their product.
As long as it doesn't tarnish their image.
Indeed. I mean, I don't see how that can be.
Well, you don't know what some of the schemes might be.
Well, what are some of the schemes? I mean,
well, I don't know.
I mean, if you're going to have something, at midnight in the women's lavatory, yes, I agree. I don't think they want to stunt like that.
Well, how about if we let balloons go all over the biggest shopping mall?
Well, you got a problem with balloons right now.
Yes.
What's the problem?
Right.
What is the problem?
With balloons?
Yes.
Oh, well, there's always this concern that they'll get in the water.
Exactly right. Even Disney stopped releasing balloons. It's not a smart thing to do these days. I'm not going to agree or disagree with the fact that...
Yeah.
But the fact is, it's not a good public relations thing to do right now, is release balloons.
Well, there's
the balloon industry doesn't like that very much, but...
Okay, that's why I suppose they would like everything cleared with them. I'm not sure they would.
Well, I wouldn't go out personally today... Even though I'm not necessarily agreeing that balloons choke whales and whatever, maybe they do, maybe they don't, but just as a practical matter, the anti-balloon people have made such a stink about releasing tons of balloons into the air. Why expose yourself to that kind of adverse publicity? Find another way. Release pigeons.
Yeah, okay. They're a little more of an expense.
Well, that's another item.
Yes, but you don't see any problem with doing normal kinds.
No, sir, I do not. I mean, if they have a vested interest here, and their vested interest is to sell material. And if you can create stunts, as long as you don't do something stupid that brings attention to the game, I would have no reservation about doing so. I do wish you well. A little late for this year, though, for I think for this Christmas, but maybe not. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. Yeah, you got Talknet. We're off and running to San Luis Obispo. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
I love listening to you. I've learned a lot from you.
Well, thank you very much. What's cooking?
Well, maybe that's what prompted this call. I've got a company who's painting the condominium complex I live in.
Yeah.
And it's quite a large complex, and they don't have any way to use electricity to run their airless sprayer.
They don't have any way to use. They don't have any way to use electricity, or they don't have access to electricity.
They didn't have any access to some electricity.
Okay.
So they asked if they could borrow one of my outlets. And they said they wanted to use it for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And this is like a huge complex, you know. And we just moved into this condominium, and I'm not even sure what our electricity bill is going to be. So what I did was I said he could do it, and I wrote up a little supply of electricity agreement and had him sign it.
Okay.
You think that would that cover it?
I would hope so.
As far as at the end of the month, you know, I don't really know what it's going to be, but as far as him paying his
share. Well, why don't you just call your utility company?
Call the utility company?
And just see, they can give you an approximation of what it's going to cost to run a compressor. You tell them there's a 4-horsepower compressor.
Okay.
And you want to run it for 10 hours, for 20 or 30 hours. Could you tell me the approximate cost? They can give you a ballpark.
Okay.
Shouldn't be too hard to do.
I mean, this guy was real understanding.
I understand that, but I mean, we're not into brain surgery here, man.
Sure.
Just call the utility company, tell them what you want to run. They can pretty closely, not right to the nickel. They can pretty closely approximate what it'll take.
Okay.
It's not going to take that much.
All right, Bruce.
Have a great holiday, kid.
You too. Thanks very much.
You're very welcome. Millburn, New Jersey. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. How are you?
I am just fine, thank you. How are things in Essex County?
It's a beautiful day today.
What's on your mind?
Okay, I have a credit card, and we put the business expenses on the credit card.
Are you on some kind of a speakerphone?
Oh, no.
What are you on?
I have a cold.
Oh, you have something like cordless, maybe?
No.
No?
I'm sitting here at my desk, and the speaker is not lit up.
Son of a gun. Somebody's on the line. But go ahead. Let's hope it works here.
Okay. Credit was issued against the amounts we charged. The company, after they approved all the credit, canceled the card because they said we charged too much.
We were
approved for the credit, for the charge. But then they said it exceeded our limit, so they canceled it.
How much were you over the limit?
About $500.
And how much was the limit?
$22,000.
So you're over by 25 points.
Yeah, but that was fine. They canceled it.
But you paid your bill on time.
Paid the bill on time, except for the credit that was issued.
What credit?
I had been issued a credit because a few of the people going to the convention canceled in time, to get a credit.
Okay.
Wrote a letter to the credit card company explaining to them that a credit would be issued. We went for 1 year before, and they finally have it straightened out by the company issuing, a copy of the credit.
What took them so long to issue the credit?
I have no idea.
Well, did you? Well, we
were talking 10, 15 letters.
That's not a good answer. It really isn't. I mean, you said it was a hotel that was issuing the credit?
No. The credit was issued.
Oh, it was?
Oh, the hotel. Credit was issued.
Oh, I see. This took them that long.
It took that long for them to get it on the card.
To get it posted, I see.
Okay. But in the meantime, while I'm disputing this, I do get a call at night at home from somebody saying the mistake was made. They put it on the wrong card. She gave me her name. We could never find the person because nobody ever heard of her. I have no idea what that was.
Oh, lovely.
Finally, I talked to an attorney. He told me to write and tell them, that we have the final credit. I had them send me the copy. I mailed it to them. Asked for letters to be sent down for Truth in Lending to clear up my credit rating. Where they should have issued me about $400 credit, they issued me $12. I'll even take that. I mean, after a year's aggravation, if I can get them to do something about my credit rating.
Well,
to this day, 2 months later, they have not sent anything.
Let me ask you this. You said they gave you a $12 credit.
$12.
$12 instead of $1,200.
No, instead of $400.
What happened to the other $388?
It was more credit issued, from the company, and
You're not telling me very much. I'm sorry.
I know. Well, I'm not even going to argue over the money because the company issued double credit, which I would like to take and give back to them. But
wait a minute. All I want to know is, you got two separate issues. It seems to me. The first is that you have erroneous information in your credit file. Is that correct?
That's my...
Hold it. Stop right there.
Okay.
That's one thing.
Right.
Secondly, there seems to be some disparity as to the credit that was issued. There's an extra $12 or something floating around?
No, they do owe me about another $350.
They still owe you that?
Yes.
Why?
It's been such a hassle trying just to get the card cleared.
Forget about, I want to know what $350 are we talking about?
We're talking about a credit that was issued.
And you never got credit for it?
No.
Still? So the balance on your credit card is still $3,500?
No. The balance now is $12.
How can this be?
Credit for $12.
How can this be? On the one hand, you're telling me that there's a plus balance on your credit card. On the other hand, they say you're getting screwed out of...
No. They cleared me up and gave me $12 balance. I'm all cleared up at this point.
So then there is no $350.
Well, the way I did it, it should have had it, but,
hold it. I don't mean to be rude. Really. Maybe we're not communicating too well. You had a $2,500 bill.
Right.
Of which, how much was issued? How much did you actually give them? Cash. You made a payment for something.
Right.
How much?
Over 2 points.
Not over. How much?
Okay, let me just do my calculator here.
Just how much did you charge is all I want to know. Legally, $1,780.
All
right, $1,800 round numbers. Now, when I get back, what I want to know is how was the other $700 treated? I want to know about the credit slips and so forth. It's a pretty simple question. I'm Bruce Williams. Now, get the numbers. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with you in Millburn, New Jersey, about her usual credit card foul up. She had her card lifted because she maxed it out plus. They got upset about that. I don't understand why if you paid the bill right away, which is a whole other program. But you paid them the $1,800 you owed him. You had a $700 credit coming from hotels. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's scene setter, right?
Okay.
Now, without regard to all the hassles, forget about them. I know you don't like that, but forget about those. Did you get credit for the entire $700? Eventually. I don't want to know.
Yes.
No, hold on. It's a yes or it's a no.
Yes. But credit was issued in the amount of $1,080.
Why $1,080?
Because when they couldn't find one of the credits, the company issued a third credit. I mean, it was $360, and $360.
All right. So how did you get that back into their fold?
Well, the final credit I had sent directly to me, and I mailed it to them.
So that's cleared up then.
Right.
So there's really no blood at this point, other than
my credit rating.
Well, then why are we talking about this other stuff? It's not an issue anymore. It's been straightened out.
It's all been straightened out.
Well, then it's not an issue. We have nothing to discuss.
Okay.
All we have to discuss is that there is information in your credit file that says that you paid late when in fact you did not. Is that brought down to its essence?
That's it.
Okay, then. What you do is you write them one letter to the credit card reporting agency saying that they have a responsibility to contact the supplier of this information, and that you guard your... I assume that you have a good credit rating. Do you?
Excellent.
All right.
Up to this.
Oh, but forget. Do you have a good credit rating?
Yes.
That you guard your credit reputation jealously, and this information is totally erroneous, and that you wish to put them on notice that if you were declined credit for any reason as a result of the erroneous information in their file that they have been advised of, that you'll hold them civilly responsible. And even if you have an attorney that you're friendly with, that kind of a letter on his letterhead would be a whole lot more forceful than on your letterhead. Copy the credit card company with that same letter.
Okay.
And then, if a period of time goes past, and you apply for credit, and you were denied on that basis, now you've been damaged. Then you have a basis of a civil action.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, but the rest of the stuff is extraneous at this point. Gotta forget it. You understand what I've said?
I know, I understand that.
Okay, kid. Take care of the cold. Have a nice holiday. Spring, Texas, your turn. Hello there.
Hello, Mr. Williams.
You betcha.
Mine's a little complicated, but I don't think I can beat that one.
Well, you see, but maybe it wasn't as complicated as it sounded, because the rest of the stuff was all extraneous. Or
Well,
maybe
this may be a little
or
more complicated.
it seems so to me.
Yeah.
What's happening, kid?
Okay, first off, I'd like to say I drive a truck over the road, and I listen to you quite a bit, and your personality and your voice make a lot of fun to listen to radio.
Well, thank you very much.
I have a real estate problem down here in Texas. Approximately 5 weeks ago, a local real estate firm listed a house north of me. It's, 5 bedrooms, 6.8 acres, has some outbuildings, fish pond, whatnot. It's about 80% finished.
My goodness, that's a pretty good sized house.
Yeah, and it's listed at 52.9.
5 bedrooms,
Yeah.
52.9.
Yeah, well, it took us by surprise, and we wanted to get it pretty bad. So
I'd say by shock.
Anyway, like I said, it's about 80% finished. Needs a little bit of drywall work. Needs some of the windows replaced.
Brand new house, huh?
Yeah, and it's a repossession.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem I called a real estate agent. The guy I got on the phone was the one I initially dealt with. I went up, looked at the house, called him back, told him we were interested. He came over.
Well, hold on. We said it was repossession now. Is it in the hands of the lender then?
It's in the hands of a large savings. I don't want to mention.
Okay. Stand by. We go around the corner together. Okay, Tiger? I'm Bruce Wiggins. This is Talknet.
WIBC.
Yeah, I'm chatting with a gentleman in Spring, Texas. Brought down to its essence, home was repossessed, well under construction, but almost completed. Steel at $50,000. But the home has been repossessed and is currently titled by the lender. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And was the house listed someplace?
Yeah, right. Okay, this is what happened. Like I said, a local real estate firm here listed the house. We went up and looked at it. The day it was listed.
Right.
Called him that day and told him, yes, we're interested in the house.
Right.
He called me to his office. He sat me down with a woman from a mortgage company, and she basically pre-approved me that everything looks good. But the mortgage company would not finance an unfinished house.
Yeah, well, wait a while. Did the but the organization in this case accept your offer?
They didn't submit it. See, this is
why not?
Let me finish. He talked to his boss, who was a woman, the broker, the boss of the real estate office, and she said, no, the company will not accept a bid and hold it for me while I go out and get a construction loan to finish the house.
Well, wait a minute. Hold the phone.
Okay.
If you make an offer, they have an obligation to take it to the person who has it up for, unless there is a specific in writing prohibition on it and some kind of an offer. Did you offer the entire amount they were asking for it?
I offered $50,000.
No, that isn't. Then you did. The answer is no.
No.
They have an obligation to take the offer back.
But this is just the beginning of the problem.
Goodness, go ahead.
Anyway, I went and found another banker who was willing to write a letter saying he understood he'd be financing an unfinished house, but give me the construction loan.
Okay.
He found something on my credit that I didn't know was on there. He had a little bit of problem with. He took it to his underwriter, who would underwrite his loan.
Mm-hmm.
The underwriter told him, well, I'll only give you an 80-20 chance of approving it. I am going to have to go out and spend the $300 for the appraisal fee plus the formal credit application and whatnot. Sure. I thought that was a little bit chancy.
No, that's the way it is, though.
Okay, well, I went to another bank. I went to another mortgage company, another bank, and talked to them, explained to them my entire situation. They said, we can do this. We can do this deal. I filled out the credit application, paid $57. Called the real estate guy that day that I got done with the credit application, gave him the name and the number of the mortgage company and the banker, and said, these two guys are willing to fax you the letter explaining.
Yeah, so I got a feeling, where are we going with this? That the place is already sold by this
time. I'm almost there. Yeah, well, this all happened Thursday. He didn't get back to me. Friday I called him. He didn't get back to me. This past Monday, he called up my wife and said, sorry, the house is sold.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I'm under the understanding that I, under good faith, submitted an earnest money contract to the real estate.
Was it accepted?
he didn't do anything with it. He
Well,
just held on.
then you got an action against him.
That's
what
I'm trying to find out.
As I see it, you got an action against him. He had it, but you went off and acted precipitously as well. You got lousy advice, and I have to believe you weren't using an attorney in this matter.
Not yet. I've been trying.
No, not yet. You're too late already.
Yeah.
You
Well,
see,
I mean, I can get an attorney for the action. But,
yeah, but that isn't the issue.
right.
There's a sequence of events when you buy real estate. I don't give a damn what this guy told you. The sequence of events is as follows. You find the property. With or without an agent, doesn't matter. An offer is made to the seller. The seller, in turn, has a right to accept or reject or counter.
Right.
Now, there are several ingredients in the offer. One is clearly price. If you offer 1 penny less, they can reject it.
Right.
If you offer the price that they asked, they have to accept it. But they don't have to have any contingency for financing, which is ordinarily just perfunctory, right?
Right.
But they don't have to. They can say it's got to be a cash deal, 5 days of the cash or something like that. But ordinarily, being realistic in a real estate transaction, you give the potential buyer 30 days, 45 days to secure. They have an obligation to diligently pursue financing,
Right.
and you have 30 or 45 days. But your real estate, the real estate agent, for whatever reason, in my opinion, screwed up.
That's basically.
Or deliberately, for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, see, now I talked to another real estate agent, said that I did have an action against him. I should sue him. And then apparently they have a thing in Texas where you get 3 times the amount of.
Well, I don't want to get into that. You see, I can't deal with that. That's local.
Right.
What I'm saying is that the real estate agent, if everything as you've described it, the real estate agent involved did not do what they were charged to do under the law, and that is tell the seller that they have an offer.
Right.
The seller then has to make a decision. Do we accept or reject? But the agent has no right to say, I'm not taking that to them.
Right.
They have to take the offer in.
I would just be happy if they could block the sale of that one person, have me go through and buy it, but I can't do that.
Well, I don't know if you can or you can't.
Well, the one person I talked to said that the party that's holding the house is not obligated to because they never actually received the bid, and they can go ahead and sell it any time they want. With the real estate.
Well, you see, that's a legal question. That's why you get yourself an attorney.
Well, I've been trying to get one, but it seems every attorney in the area is friends with this guy, and nobody will talk to me about it.
Well, I don't believe that.
Yeah, well, I'm trying.
I mean, I'm sure I don't mean that unkindly.
Right.
Listen, let me tell you something. There's an attorney out there that would sue the Pope if the Pope was vulnerable.
Right. Okay.
And I'm talking about an attorney who practices in the Vatican.
Yeah.
And there's always somebody out there who'll get you.
Okay.
Good luck, kid.
I appreciate it a lot, Bruce.
All righty. Nice talking to you. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for Talknet. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
Fantastic to be talking to you. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, sir. What's on your mind?
Well, Bruce, I have a small company that makes optical instruments for scientific research.
All right.
Typically, they're sold to universities and things like that. I've developed a mounting system for optical elements, which has a much wider applicability than the instrument itself. So I'm interested in marketing it separately. So I've approached the optical house that makes the elements that go in our instrument in the hope that they would market it for us through them because they have a large customer base and so forth. And they seem to be interested in.
Okay.
They're going to be in touch with me after Thanksgiving, and I don't mind telling you that I'm quite a business novice, so I was hoping you could give me some idea of what kind of business arrangements are typically made in these situations.
I don't think there is any typically. There's so many variables here that I have a hard time dealing with because just out of a vacuum of ignorance from my part. We said this is a high-tech proposition sold typically to universities and whatever. I got to believe it's a low-volume operation then.
Yeah, probably. Certainly the instruments themselves are low volume, but the mounting system with a larger applicability probably has, on the order of 1,000 units a year, kind of.
What does that mean in dollars?
On the order of $750,000 in sales, probably, maybe $1 million.
No, that's a substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
And what is your role other than providing the idea?
Well, I also have set up a manufacturer that can provide the system and deliver it to the optical house, so that If they were to say go, we could provide them with any number from, say, 100 to 10,000, whatever.
If they could, then who's going to do the marketing?
They would do the marketing. Our idea is that they sell optical elements, and they would put in their catalog, you buy this element, you buy this mount to fit it, and that's the ideal way to mount our stuff.
And maybe I'm a little foggy here now.
Okay.
Why do they need you?
Well, they need me because they're not in the business of mounting their elements. They just make the optics themselves, and there's no current way.
Lady was very, very nice. I think she told me she was in Oklahoma City as I talked to her on the 800 number, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going through different permutations because I have a PC, whatever the coupon number is. I think it was a United reward. And I can do one of two things. I can use it as an upgrade or one free day. Well, I got tons of upgrade coupons, so why not, let's do the permutations. Well, I'm going to stay for 5 days. Actually, it'll be 5 over 4 days. And if you're 2 hours over, it's a 5th day, right? So that's the weekly rate. For the next I wanted a luxury car, but they didn't have that for the next size car. The weekly rate is $219, she says. And if you can get a free day, but of a lower rated car for $28, and now we're down to $190 for the car, right? Unlimited mileage.
Right.
I said, well, that sounds okay. And I'm laying there in bed. 10 minutes later, boop, 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 800, blah. Let me try this again. I got my call. I got somebody else, but I said, I want you to pump up my reservation number, which he did. I said, wait a minute. This is the weekly rate, but I'm going for 5 days. What is the daily rate on that car? $39.95, $40, right? 40, 80, 120, 100, that's $200, isn't it? I said, now on a free day, yep, that's $160. I saved $30.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody at Hertz was trying to do me in. I didn't ask the right questions. So I got the wrong answers, you see. Now, there's only one person who's going to ask the right questions for you. I said, do you have any pregnant nun rates? How about a fat rate? How about a recent grandfather rate? I was one of them. You got to ask. You really got to ask. Hertz is having a promotion right now with American Express. Again, I saw it in the back of one of the magazines on an airplane last day or two. Any car in the joint for the compact rate, if they happen to have one on a weekend. If they got a Lincoln sitting there, you pay if you make the reservation in advance and give this magic number. Well, nobody's going to tell you about those things. You got to search them out. And that's part of the fun. Searching out the deals. Read the magazines, read the ads, scan the newspapers, listen to the radio, listen to whatever that little travel corner of mine that I hope your radio station carries. That's where you find out about these things.
Okay.
That's all it said. As to the collision damage waiver you were talking about, I do not pay for the collision damage waiver for two reasons. I have it on my card, and I also have collision on my automobile.
Well, so do we.
So I wouldn't carry. I do not carry it.
Okay.
Have a great trip, sweetheart.
Thank you.
And watch yourself in that casino.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, kid.
Thanks.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around, my friends, on Thanksgiving Eve. This is Talknet. It was a true story. Honest to Pete, that I just told you. And I felt better about that $30 that I saved than I would make it a couple hundred. That's what my very close friend Nate Rosenhaus, who is also my attorney, says is my depression mentality. I still cannot bring myself to think about bigger things. I think about $2.98. But that's the way I was raised. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. This question is kind of prompted by hearing all the horror stories of people who don't buy real estate without an attorney.
Oh, my God. They go on and on.
When I was sent by a major credit card company a deal where if you pay $7.95 a month, you get these legal services.
Yeah, it's legal insurance, very much like health insurance.
Yeah, these, you get unlimited calls to the attorney, one visit for each issue you want to bring up,
Right.
will, those kind of things. But the thing that interested me was, I'm looking to purchase a home in the next 6 months, and they had a guaranteed rate for closing on a house of $175.
It's very reasonable.
And it seemed very reasonable, and I was doing the calculation, even at $8 a month, if I buy it the next year, I'd still probably come out ahead of what the rates were in town.
That's very possible. And the attorney will be somebody in town anyway.
Yeah, it is somebody right in town.
It'll be local. I
Let's start. Can we back up for a little bit and maybe readdress that? Because I can't tell you whether this is specifically a good deal. I don't have any way of knowing that. But if you were to ask me, do I think that prepaid legal is a good idea? The answer is yes. I think it's an idea whose time has long since come, just as we have prepaid medical and other types of insurance. There's so many people who do not get the appropriate legal advice, and then find themselves even more vulnerable than they were, before the whole thing began, simply because they don't want to spring for that few bucks involved, or maybe they don't have it. Just as there are people who don't get proper medical attention because they don't have the insurance, they just can't afford it or will not spend the money. I mean, we could, and I suppose there's truth in both of those statements.
Right, and even I guess that the monthly cost is still a pretty good value when you call an attorney when you got a problem.
It seems so to me because as I see the law, as there's as much preventative occupation as there is, what am I searching for? The preventative value is as greater than getting it fixed after the problem, has been created. Does that make any sense to you?
Makes a lot of sense.
So I think whether or not this particular plan is a good one, I don't know. Let's assume that it is, okay? I'd still shop around and see if there's some others available that may be better.
Okay.
As long as you've made a determination that prepaid legal is a pretty good idea, now shop around and see which plans are available to you.
Alrighty. Thanks, Bruce.
Take good care, my friend.
Alrighty.
Well, if we go to Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Hello there.
Good day, Bruce. How are you?
I am just fine, thank you.
I'd like to compliment you on your staff's ability to handle a multitude of calls and wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you to you and yours.
Question regarding FDIC insurance on trust. Your typical bank account is insured up to $100,000 if it's listed with FDIC.
That's true. Okay, go ahead.
My grandmother has a family trust. The bank is the trustee. I presume the securities are in the bank's name as trustee. Stocks, bonds, CDs, treasury notes, etc. Value approximately $600,000. If the bank goes under, how are the trust funds accounted for?
I don't know the answer to that. I really don't know. I would prefer if I had monies of that kind in securities in the quote street name, that they be held in a firm that was SIPC insured.
The last word you used was
SIPC, S-P-I-C. It's an private insurance plan that brokers are covered by, up to, I think it's $600,000 or $700,000 per client.
Okay.
But by all means, that's a question to address your banker with.
Okay.
Say, what happens if the bank fails? Are the securities part of the assets of the bank? Are the securities held in the name of the person in the trust? I don't know the answer to that. I suspect they're probably held in the bank's name for convenience sake.
Sure.
And I doubt seriously then that they'd be covered.
I will look into it directly with the bank.
If they were in the person's name and the individual's names, then clearly it's their property being held and managed by the bank. If it was being held in the street name of a brokerage house that was insured by SIPC, then you'd be covered up to that amount of money. But it's clearly a good question, and certainly one to be directed to the trust department of that bank and get a good answer from them, in writing, by the by.
Very good. I appreciate your call and appreciate your good show.
Thank you very much. Have a great holiday.
You take care. Thanks.
Well, and I am grateful to my listeners for raising questions of that kind, because whether I have an answer is clearly not very important. But if it stimulates someone else to be thinking about their situation, then you got a bargain as you hurtle down a highway or get the dishes done. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
WIBC, Indianapolis.
We go now to Southport, Hawaii. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Happy Thanksgiving, Bruce.
Well, thank you. Where is Southport? What island?
Well, actually, it's South Point, and it's on the Big Island.
On Hawaii.
Yeah, we're way out in the sticks between Hilo and Kona.
I'm going to be in Hilo and Kona in January.
Really?
Yes,
What are you doing over here?
Pardon me?
What are you doing over here?
I'll be doing a show in Hilo on one night and Kona the next.
All right, well, I look forward to that.
Super. I'll be in Oahu, I think, on Wednesday night. I think I'll be in Oahu Wednesday the 9th, and then the Big Island Friday and Saturday. I'm not sure which. Well, I'll be Hilo on Friday, Kona on Saturday, but one of the two.
All right.
So I'm going to be in your part of the world. I do hope you'll come by and say hello.
Well, it's a nice part of the world. I look forward to having you.
Indeed. Thank you.
Hey, maybe you can help me do a little homework. I'll give you a little history. About 16 months ago, I bought a 3/4-ton four-wheel drive diesel pickup for my business.
3/4-ton four-wheel drive diesel. Yeah, you're going to jump up the volcanoes too for laughs, huh?
Among other things, yeah.
Yeah, a little skiing.
Yeah, well, I haven't done that yet.
Uh-huh.
I've lived here all my life. I haven't skied here yet.
Is that right? Well, you do have snow skiing there, right in the middle.
Yeah, they've got it. I've heard it's pretty good sometimes too.
Indeed.
Anyway, I took out a commercial policy with a major carrier.
For commercial policy for what?
For my pickup.
You mean liability policy?
Yeah, liability, collision, comp, all that stuff.
Okay.
You know, pretty much full coverage.
All right.
It's from a major carrier, and I did it through a local agency. 2 weeks ago, I piled up the truck, and it was totaled. And the problem I'm having right now is that the insurance company has agreed to settle for about $16,000, which is within $100 of the retail Blue Book price.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, in looking around, I've called all of the used car places around here, and nobody seems to have a truck that's really similar to mine. There's trucks that are vaguely in the area, but they've got twice the mileage, or they're an automatic, and I want a standard, and so on and so forth. And it looks like what I'm going to have to do is buy a new truck, and it's going to cost me, you know, $21,000 plus.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a big hardship for me, so I'm not sure what to do with it.
I think you probably have to compromise on the truck that you get.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for example, is it so critical that you have a shift rather than automatic? If that's the compromise you got to make.
Yeah, that's probably the main one. Also, the mileage. I can't find any.
Well, the mileage I can't do much about.
Mm-hmm.
But that may be a compromise too. But I mean, clearly, if you can't afford the 21K, and you can find a comparable vehicle, but it has automatic, is that such a tremendous give up?
Oh, I could live with it.
What's wrong with automatic, by the way? It's not only can you live with it, but it's a whole lot easier to drive.
Yeah. Well, you know, we do a lot of four-wheeling. You talked about going up the volcanoes. The area I live in, there's a lot of four-wheel roads, and I found that, you know, in that kind of situation, the standard tends to be a little bit easier. You have a little more control. And
yeah, that's true, but I'll tell you something. To me, you couldn't give me a car with a standard shift in. Not today. There was a time when that was true, but with today's modern transmissions, not me, man. I mean, you couldn't give me one. Seriously. I don't like driving it. Hey, that's just one less thing I've got to do.
Yeah, that's true. It is a lot easier. You get to maybe not look at the scenery so much, but you don't have to...
just less work, for crying out loud. Just a whole lot less work driving a car or a truck. There was a time when you had to have a manual transmission because they just weren't that efficient. But that time has passed, my opinion.
Yeah. Okay, well, you know, I can live with the standard. The only thing I'm kind of questioning is that if I have to pay a little bit more to get something close...
Their obligation is not to find you another automobile. Their obligation is to give you what you lost in dollars.
I see. So actually they're being fairly fair with me.
Oh, I think so. I think there's any question about it.
All right.
I mean, how in the world could they... Suppose you had a Lotus. How in the world... And you're sitting there on Maui, right? How in the world can they expect when you find you a used Lotus on Maui? It's not reasonable.
Right. Well, I know there's tons of trucks like in California and stuff.
Yeah, but you're not...
quoted a few of them.
But you're not in California, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on your perspective. No, I think they treated you well.
All right. Well, thanks. That's good to know. That puts my mind at rest.
Take good care. Have a nice holiday. I hope we'll see you in January.
You too, Bruce.
Okay, Ken. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. This is Talknet. Los Angeles, California. It's your turn. Hello there. Welcome to my world.
Thank you for taking my call, Bruce.
You're most welcome. What's on your mind?
Basically, I work for a production company in Los Angeles. And
film production or television?
Commercial and film.
Okay.
Mainly we do commercials.
All right.
Basically, we're the working crew behind the actual making of a commercial. And to begin with, what we do is we are offered a commercial to make, And what we do is we submit a budget and then get an approval from an advertising agency, and then the work is carried out.
Let me do that again.
We are given a job to bid on.
Yeah.
We do the bidding, and then if the bid is approved,
If you're the successful bidder.
right, then the work is carried out. The production begins. Now, basically, I have two questions. The first one is, I work in-house for this company most of the time. I also do freelance work in this area. And the last production we did, I was employed in-house and also working on the production. When it came time for the actual...
When you say working the production for someone else?
No, working on the production as an in-house employee, but in the capacity of what we call a production manager, who is paid a daily rate on top of what I earn.
That's kind of a bonus?
It's kind of... Well, if we hired an independent contractor, they would get a daily rate, and that's flat, and they get that amount. The last production that we did, I was employed as production manager on this production that we did. Now, when it came time for the actual budget to be submitted to the advertising agency so we would receive payment, my name was used as production manager, and an amount of money was paid to my company for my services. Now, when it came time for my paycheck to be paid, my company did not pay me this money. They only paid me my salary and nothing more.
I am having a hard time following this, I guess.
Okay.
If you're on the pad for your company, are you customarily, do you get a bonus if you kind of wear these two hats?
We get a bonus whether or not we work on the production just because we work in the office. So it doesn't matter if we work...
What is that based on?
That's just based on a successful commercial. They make a lot of money off it, so they give each employee a bonus, whether or not
But the word is give. You're not entitled to that. You're given that.
Right.
All right. So I don't understand why. I don't understand this. Gee, what's the word? I can't find a word here.
Okay. Well, let me try and explain it better. The last production that we did, they asked me to work in the capacity of production manager.
Okay. What is your regular job?
Usually, I am a production coordinator and the in-house office manager.
Let's try one title at a time here. Production coordinator.
Right.
Now, the next job was what?
Now,
production manager.
Right.
That's a higher.
That's a
higher level.
That's correct.
Right. Now, if you work at that other job classification, are you customarily paid more?
Yes.
But is it a right or is it a gift?
No, it's a right.
All right. The union right?
Yes.
All right, then it's a union job, and
right.
you were functioning at a higher level.
Right.
And now they're not giving it to you, is what you're telling me.
Right. Actually, it isn't a union job. We work non-union in my company.
Well, in that case, it's not a union thing.
Right. But what happened, when this production started, they told me I would be making a daily rate of such and such an amount. When the production finished and they were paid, they did not give me that money.
And what do they say when you query them about it?
They say it is for the company that I am paid my basic salary and nothing more. That it didn't matter that I was working on that production, even though beforehand they had told me that I would be receiving money.
But then we're down to its essence then. It's a matter of what they told you and what they're willing to live up to, and what your redress is. First of all, you willing to bag the job?
I don't want to, but I am willing to, yeah.
How much money is involved here?
About $4,500.
Well, if you can't negotiate, you're going to have to litigate it. I don't know if you're going to win that one at all.
Okay.
I mean, on what basis do you claim this section? Aside from the fact that you say that there was a verbal agreement.
Right, and not only that.
Is there precedent?
When they submit the actual budget to the advertising agency at the end of the production.
They charge him for you. It doesn't matter.
But you're
on
my
their
name.
That's all right.
They can charge for me and not give the money to me?
Certainly, you're on their pad.
Okay.
Are you not? You're a member of their payroll people. You're on their payroll. Of course, they can charge for you.
Okay. Well, that was one of my questions. I just wasn't sure.
Why not? Why would they not be able to?
I have no idea. That's why I've called you.
And you're the employee.
Right. Okay. And then one other question I have, and this is just to do with the ethics of working here. When we submit a budget, we submit an estimated budget. We get the approval. After the production is done, we submit an actual cost budget. Now, the actual cost budget that we submit, because I work in this office, I know that it is not right.
They're pumping it up, you mean?
They're pumping it up like you would not believe.
Is this supposed to be a cost-plus operation?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean.
Well, in other words, oftentimes you'll make a deal with somebody and you'll say, whatever your costs are, you just itemize them and we'll pay you 10 or 15% over or a fixed dollar amount over that number. So you have a guaranteed profit. We don't know what it's going to cost to move people around, so you submit all your bills and we'll give you $1,000 plus whatever you expend.
Right. Well, we do get a markup in addition to that. Now, I asked my employers once before if they considered this legal, and they just laughed and didn't really answer. And then when I said, well, what happens if the company comes back to you and asks for the documents proving that it costs this much?
Yeah.
And then they said they would change the document, which made me think, well, this has got to be wrong.
It probably is. It certainly has some pretty heavy-duty moral implications and probably legal as well.
Right. Well, that's the response I get from most people, that morally it is incorrect, but legally they think that it can...
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if it's legal or not.
Okay.
But and you're asking, should I continue to work for a company that...
No, I'm basically asking if it's legal because I don't have any idea.
There's no way in the world anyone can answer that without knowing precisely what the agreement is between the two parties.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Okay.
I do wish you well.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Hang in there, and you have to decide whether if your job is because you start monkeying around in court or bringing an action against them, you can bet your life you'll be history. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet.
Miami, Detroit, Fargo, Moorhead, thanks for calling Talknet.
Portland, Oregon, it's your turn. Hello there.
Yeah, hi, Bruce. How you doing?
I am doing real well, thank you.
You get a great show.
Thank you, sir.
I've got a problem. I'm an employer, and I had a worker who was not on workman's compensation. She was considered contract labor.
By whom?
Well, that's, a gray area.
It's a very... tell me the circumstance. As soon as you say contract labor, I get nervous.
Okay, well, she may not be.
Well, let's talk about her for a moment. What does she do?
Well, she does physical labor in my plant, and I supply the tools, but she was basically doing it on her own schedule, and she was not working.
What does she do exactly for you?
She shakes crab meat.
There's no way in the world you're going to get her on contract labor.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to get your ears pinned back.
Well, at this point, she no longer is. The roadblock to having her as a regular employed or paid employee was workman's compensation. It's mandatory in Oregon, and it's extremely high.
Well, the fact it's high because in that particular industry, people must be making a lot of claims. Because workers' compensation premiums are clearly a result of the number of claims, not necessarily in your plant, but in the industry.
Well, my understanding was that it was under a sort of a blanket policy where she was grouped in with meat cutters.
Well, that may be.
Right.
That may be, and I understand. Well, if there's one around, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm calling for my son in Michigan, and he signed up, to buy a house last Saturday. But on contingent on
on a satisfactory inspection by a inspector of his choice and at his expense.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Because this is by owner. There's no real estate involved in it. So you think we can find one in the Yellow Pages?
I don't think there's any question.
He asked his mortgage man, and he said that he didn't.
Well, did he ask his lawyer?
No.
Well, ask his lawyer. Does he have a lawyer representing him?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't know.
Well, you ought to talk to him.
He doesn't listen to you.
Well, that's his loss. What can I tell you?
I've been, of course, he's in Grand Haven now, but in Detroit, when we're up there, we only get just a little bit of Talknet there, but here we get the whole night.
Well, my program is carried in WXYT in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure he could listen, or you could listen up there. But in any event, you ought to get an attorney. His attorney could recommend someone I'm competent.
Okay. Now, is there such an inspector that does the whole thing rather than, one for the furnace?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Absolutely. That's the only kind you want. You want somebody who's going to do the whole house.
The whole house, yeah.
And then they'll have a punch sheet, and then they will guarantee what they say is correct. If they're materially wrong, then you go after them. Good luck, hon.
Okay, thank you much.
Take good care. I'm Bruce Williams. Agree to disagree. I'm delighted you're here on Talknet.
1-800-TALKNET is 1-800-825-5638.
Bowie, Maryland. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
I enjoy listening to your show very much, and I hope you can answer a quick question for me.
I will do my level best. What's up, Doc?
Okay. I'm a 20-year-old, and I've got a 2-year degree in business management, and I'm kind of in the market for a part-time job, and I've come across one in one of our local newspapers about processing mortgage insurance refunds from HUD.
Forget it.
Really?
This if it's what I think it is, what they're going to try to do is sell you either a book or a course on how to locate people who have HUD insurance refunds coming, and then you'll share with them. The troublesome part of that equation is, A, it's a hustle, and more important, there's so many people doing this today. It's, like 30 people fishing in a barrel.
Okay.
There's only one fish in the barrel, you see. Might have been a good idea 20 years ago when you were just getting around to being born.
Right.
But it's not such a red-hot idea now. By and large, well, first of all, let me go back a little bit. I'm just curious about you. What's your first name?
Kelly.
Kelly?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got a daughter, Kelly.
Oh.
So I can remember your name easily.
Okay.
All right, Kelly, are you going on for a 4-year degree?
Not right now.
How come, Kel?
I wanted to stop and just start working full time and try that for a while. I was thinking.
Why?
Why?
Yeah, there must be an echo here. I said why, you said why.
Okay.
Why?
Well, I was just tired of school. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do.
Everybody gets the 2-year blast.
Yeah.
Kelly. Do yourself a favor, Button. What am I going to tell you to do?
You're going to tell me to go back.
Get your buns back in school. That's right.
Well,
absolutely. There's never a better time than the time you're at now.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking was maybe eventually to go. Well, not maybe.
Not
definitely
eventually.
Go back to school at night.
No, Kelly. Look. You're going through what most of us went through in a sophomore year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have any respect for you?
Sure.
Do you really? Are you sure about that?
Oh yeah.
How are your grades in junior college?
A's and B's.
Okay, so you're intellectually capable. Is that not true?
That's true.
Do you want to be the kid who just has the menial jobs the rest of your life?
Oh no,
well,
I've got big hopes.
Well, Kelly, that's what you're sentencing yourself to.
You think so, huh?
No, Kelly, I don't think so. There are very few times that you hear me make pronouncements on this program. Isn't that true?
That's true.
But in this one, I am dead right, solid ground. You are entering into the 21st century, competing against millions of other young men and women who are going to be better prepared than you are.
That's true.
Well, why would you want to do that to yourself when you have to invest a lousy 2 years?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to do something that I don't want to do.
Kelly, here's the problem. I don't care if you get your degree in gum chewing, boy watching, shoelace tying, basket weaving. Doesn't matter to me. I would hope that you do something a little better than that.
Right.
But a degree in basket weaving beats the heck out of no degree whatever.
Well, I do have a 2-year degree.
No, you don't. You have 2 years of college. An AA is not a degree.
Well,
I know it says a degree, but
it does.
Kelly, when you're out in the real world now, we're not talking about the people in training world, honey. The real world, a 2-year degree is 2 years of college. Okay, the kid had 2 years of college. That's all it is. That's not knocking it. Of course, you can't get 4 without 2.
Well, that's true.
But you ought to go on, and I'm not talking about next year. I'm talking about, Kelly, next month. In September, and it's not too late to get back into school. Believe me, there's lots of schools competing for students. In September this year, Kelly, you ought to have your little sitting in a chair in class. And I'm talking about full-time, kid. It's so hard to go back. Because you see, I'm Mr. Dummy here. You realize that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I was your age, we just talked about that on the previous segment. I
heard that.
I was in Korea.
That's right.
Okay, I was 25 when I went back as a freshman. That was stupid. I should have done it when I was 18, like everybody else. But no, I had other ideas, you say, about wars and the rest of that nonsense. Do yourself a favor, baby. You can work nights. You can work weekends. It's gonna inhibit your social life. Are your parents willing to support you?
Oh, sure.
Go back to school, Kelly. You know how lucky you are. How many young women parents can't support them, won't support them?
I guess there's a lot out there.
Trust me. Do you promise me one thing?
What?
Will you really think about it tonight?
Oh, sure. I've been thinking about it a lot.
And you let me know, huh?
Okay.
And I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make you a deal.
All right.
You go back to school next month, and I'm going to send you a dozen roses if you let me know where you are. I can
You are.
you.
Okay.
Yeah. You let us know where you can. What station is this? WRC? Well, you let some of the folks down at WRC know. You give me an address, and Bill will see that you get a dozen roses. That's on the day that you start class full-time in September.
Do I have to send you the mission slip?
I'll take your word for it. You wouldn't lie to me, would you?
Oh, no.
Okay, all you got to do is tell me what school, the day you start, and you get a dozen roses, baby.
Okay.
And another dozen the day you graduate.
All right, well, if I decide to go back, I'll let you know.
No, you just give it some serious thought tonight.
Okay.
Because there's one person in the whole world's going to win from that.
Oh, that's right.
That's you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Do it.
Okay.
I wish you well, honey.
Thank you.
Tell you something. There's just no way you kids are going to go into battle without a gun. Crazy. You know, God was very kind to this young lady. He gave her the intellectual capacity to do these things. There are a lot of people out there that don't have the capacity. But she does. What a crime to waste it. Nashville, Tennessee. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Bruce, I've got a problem. I'm mad.
You're mad?
Yes, sir.
Also angry and ticked off, huh?
Yes, very much so.
Let us talk.
A year ago, last January, there was a major news network did a story, and in the story, they had a photograph of me.
And how was it used?
It was,
I mean, were you a criminal or something, or did you do something heroic, or in some way bring attention to yourself?
They were doing an article on large churches.
All right.
And as a member of the congregation, for whatever reason, they focused in on me.
I mean, this thing of a close-up shot.
Right.
That's it?
A long close-up shot.
You didn't
This was a year ago, last January.
You didn't say anything?
Did not say anything or anything.
And this was in the church itself?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
All right.
And but may I assume that the church let the camera in there?
Yes, they did.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The story they did was a very objective story. No problem. I was all over the news that night, but no big deal.
Didn't matter either way.
Right.
You didn't contribute to the story. You were just happened to be in church.
Right.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, night before last, the same network is doing a completely different story in which the participants may not be seen in a very good light.
What kind of a story?
It was on people being built by religion. There's some $400 million that people had contributed.
Oh yeah, there are a couple of stories in the news wires this weekend about that.
Okay, sir. So they did a story on that.
Yeah.
And they pulled the file footage of me and used it in a completely unrelated story. So I am now one of those that has been built out of millions.
Aren't you lucky to have millions, huh?
But
yeah, I understand you're upset because they didn't label it file footage.
Not at all, sir.
I would get hold of the network and raise particular hell. They have a right to use that footage, but old footage clearly must be labeled file footage.
And in my situation, I am self-employed.
Yeah.
And I think that
hang on for a second. I'm Bruce Williams for Talknet,
Toledo's news station.
Unhappily, we have one line of this whole bank here that drops out regularly, and my friend in Nashville happened to be on that line. So I'm sure he's listening, and I do apologize, my friend, but I was about to say, you're a businessman, and you feel because they use file footage in an inappropriate fashion that you have been injured. We got him back. What line are we on? It's on that same lousy line. How did that work? Hello there, Nashville?
Yes, sir.
Boy, I don't know how you got back through again. Amazing.
I'm lucky.
All righty. Bill said he's trying to keep a line open in case you call. But in any event, given the fact that you are a business person and you feel because they used a picture that was taken in an entirely different context and it reflects poorly on you, I'd have a long, serious chat with a network and maybe my attorney.
Okay. I want to make sure I wasn't going off half-cocked, that it was just
no, it's
mad, and that's all. That there may have been an excuse for it.
They were permitted to go into the church a year ago to do a certain kind of story, and I'm sure, don't let me put words in your mouth. I assume that you knew what type of story they were doing when you sat there and allowed the camera to focus on you.
That is correct.
Otherwise, you could have picked up the prayer book or something over your face.
Right.
To use it in an entirely different context is inappropriate, and I cannot imagine anybody from one of the nets or in our business feeling otherwise. Now, it may well be that some junior birdman, in production, just needed something for filler or whatever, and give me some church copy. But that's inappropriate, the wrong way to do it, and if you've been damaged, I'd go after the rascals.
Okay, thank you, Bruce.
Good luck, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we're in a business. I think we're reasonably responsible. We try to be, but there are things that you're not supposed to do. That's all, and I think that's one of them. Norwalk, Ohio. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. My question is, how can I increase my chances to receive a bank loan when my credit report isn't exactly of the cleanest?
It ain't easy. For what reason? Well,
Okay, the reason is I moved here from Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay. Up there, I was working like 3 part-time jobs, just trying to stay afloat with a wife and family.
Mm-hmm.
Moved here for the job. I also I make times more than what I did up there.
All right, that was why you got in trouble up there. What's on the credit report? Slow pay, no pay, what?
Okay, I have some.
Have or had?
I have slow pays and I have a couple no pays. They were not what's the word I'm looking for here? There are nines is what it states on the credit report.
All right.
I plan on paying every one of those off.
But you still owe that money. How much do you owe?
It's like $800.
All right. Now, next question is, how long ago was this?
2 years ago.
How much are you looking for, and for what purpose?
I'm going to have to get into a house. I would like to get another car.
All at one time?
Well, no, but I mean within the next year.
The car is not a big deal. Car loans are pretty easy to get because there are so many lenders that work with the automobile salespeople. And furthermore, unbeknownst to many of the buyers, the automobile agency is literally co-signing your loan. So that if you go sour, they'll pick it up. So the automobile loan can be done.
Okay.
The house is a different matter.
Well, even if I have to go with rent with option to buy for my first few years,
there are other options available to you. One is to get enough money together where you can put a down payment on an FHA mortgage that was written a couple of years ago. It's assumable without the lender giving permission. Or a VA.
I can't get a VA.
No, I'm talking about assumable.
Oh, okay.
Because the mortgage is written, I forgot the date, 86, 87, something like that. Written before that were assumable without the lender's approbation. The second or third alternative, I don't know where we are on this menu, would be to find someone who would sell you a home with a contract for deed as opposed to a fee simple deal through an outside lender, or willing to take back the paper.
Okay.
Those are your alternatives.
All right. In clearing up that credit report, I understand from banks that I've talked to, we're looking at 7 years.
It will clear itself, purge itself in 7 years, yes.
But is there anything I can do now?
Not really. Not that I know of.
Pay them all off.
Certainly pay them off.
But then the credit company says to write a letter.
You can write a letter, and you are allowed to put a letter of up to 2,500 words in your file. Everyone who requests a credit report will get a copy of that letter as well.
Is there anything special I should say in there?
What are you going to say? There's nothing in there that's untrue.
I know, but can't I say that my situation is completely changed?
Well, you can say that. It's not going to make a heck of a lot of difference, I'll tell you now.
All righty, thanks.
It's just not going to make much difference, but pay it off.
Right.
That will help eventually. And secondly, the automobile should not be that too much of a problem. And finally, I gave you at least 3 alternatives.
Right.
You can make a house happen in a year or so.
Super.
I wish you well, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more, because you have Talknet. Springfield, Virginia, you've been very patient, and I appreciate that. May I help you?
Thank you, Bruce. I've been a frequent listener for years and value your advice and judgment. I have a problem of an anticipatory breach of contract.
My goodness, that's a $3 word. What's
well, because and the question is, should I go for specific performance? I have an enforceable contract on a house that I'm buying, and the seller, after 10 days or so, notified the real estate agent that he's changed his mind.
And for what reason?
Well, except that he doesn't want to sell the house. And the real estate agent said in the 20 years that they've been in business, they've never had anything like that happen.
Well, they've been very lucky because it is not unusual. Seller's remorse.
Well, yeah, but this guy, Bruce, is a businessman. He had the house up for sale for about 9 months, and we went through a negotiation process of an offer, counter offer, and all that sort of thing.
Maybe somebody came along and offered him more.
Well, we thought about that, but he's willing to forgo selling the house and give us damages.
He is?
Yeah.
How much?
A couple thousand. But we want the house, you know. We've been looking for the house, you know, a house like that for a long time, and that's our real dream sort of thing, is to buy that house.
What kind of money's involved for the house?
$200,000.
I was just trying to get a nice. Well, then he's willing to give you 1%. That's why I asked the value. And you really want to push it? Push it.
Well, but the real estate agent, of course, I recognize that they represent him. They're indicating that this is an extreme remedy by the court if they were to require specific performance.
What does your attorney say? You've obviously discussed it with him.
Well, same thing.
That it would be that he doesn't think he can win it. In other words.
Well, he says it's enforceable. There's nothing wrong with the contract, but he thought that it's a rather small town. It's not here in Springfield. It's outside of Springfield.
Well, what is that? What does the size of the town have to do with anything?
Well, except that this is a local guy.
So what?
Well, yeah, that's.
You don't think you get a square shake? You'd go for a different court. Get a change of venue.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of that. But in your opinion, would you go for specific?
I would want to know why the guy wants out. I want a legitimate reason why you want out. For 9 months, it's been on the market.
Yeah.
We negotiated in good faith, back and forth. You didn't walk away. We finally have a deal, and after 9 months, which is what 30 times 300, 270 days, round numbers. 10 days later, or something like, a fraction of the time you changed your mind. Now, something's happened. I want to know what it is before I decide what I'm going to do.
Well, he just told his attorney that he just changed his mind, that he really changed his mind within hours after he signed it, but didn't notify the real estate agent until, about a little over a week later.
You see, I don't know the possibilities for winning. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want my guy to tell me I got a decent shot of winning, or alternatively, if I don't win, what are my chances of getting more money than $2,000, taking the aggravation and expenses into account? And what are the chances of me forcing the sale? Or making it so uncomfortable for me would be rather sell? Those are things I want to know from whoever's representing me. There must be some precedent in your state to look to.
Yeah, well, of course,
it's hard for me to believe. Excuse me, it's hard for me to believe that somebody else hasn't had a similar situation. Let's find a precedent and see how it came down.
Yeah, well, in this particular area, apparently there was no precedent for this.
Baloney. I don't believe that for an instant.
Yeah.
When you say area, I'm talking about the state of Virginia.
Yeah, well.
And it doesn't have to be a precedent set in the state of Virginia courts either. But I would bet my life that there's been at least 1 or 2 cases in the history of your state for non-performance.
Yeah.
And what happened? It's hard for me to believe otherwise. Until you know those things, how can you make an intelligent decision?
Yeah. Well, that's our problem. How far we want to go.
Well, at least I would do that much research, for pity's sake.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate this, Bruce.
Tough decision, but go for it. Here's the thing. let me let you go with this, all right? Why make a decision in a vacuum of ignorance? Because that's where you are now. Isn't that true?
Well, that's right.
All right, so
I don't know what my chances are.
Well, wait a while, but you're trying to make a decision in this vacuum of ignorance. Wouldn't it be better to make it in a position of strength, knowing what precedents have been established?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to make a little research in the library. I don't mean you.
Yeah.
In the law library, one of the clerks in your guy's office. Get them on it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you well.
Oh, thank you, Bruce.
They say the law is not a law until it's been tested. Well, that has to have happened someplace. Detroit, your turn.
Hello?
Hello there.
Hi, my name is Terry. I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
You bet.
And I was wondering about this ad that I saw. It said, make fantastic money with your answering machine.
With your answering machine?
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell me about how you make a bunch of money.
Okay, so I called this number and they sent me out this.
And they got their answering machine.
Pardon?
And you got their answering machine.
Yeah, I did get an answering
machine. Did you really?
Yeah, they
bad
they
Rupert
told me
Holmes.
my name and address and everything. They sent me out some information.
Sounds like a bad Rupert Holmes call here. Go ahead.
Okay. So they sent me out this 3-page letter telling me about how people were making money with their answering machine. It really didn't tell you how, but it had this number down here at the bottom of the letter. So I called it, and they said, I asked, what was this, a telemarketing or what was it? They said it was like the opposite of telemarketing. Like you place an ad, and people call you for some product that you advertise. And either you can sell your own product or you can sell a product from their company, and they take 25% and you keep 75%. Have you ever heard of
How is your answering machine making any money there?
I don't know. I guess the answering machine takes the order.
Oh, for pity's sake. Oh, just another guy trying to be hustled. Or hustling. I'm sorry, hustle. No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a reverse telemarketing. All we try to do is beat you for whatever, was it $20?
$19.95.
Yeah, $20. It's about right for this kind of stuff. And you know what the chances are? That the guy who put the ad in got hustled for $20.
Probably.
By somebody else.
Okay, I just want to know if you ever heard of it.
I've not heard of that one, but I've heard so many permutations that it doesn't surprise me very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Save your $20.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, I'll tell you, they're out there, though. They are certainly out there. I'm Bruce Williams. I'm delighted you're here on Talknet. To Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. I've listened to you for many years, and I've always enjoyed your advice and the help you've given people. And I've got a rather unique problem.
A sticky wicket.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, okay, I met a girl. She's a foreigner, and
is the fact that she's a foreigner germane to this?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Then where is she from?
Korea.
Okay.
So a place you're familiar with.
Yes, I have been there.
And the wheeling and dealing.
That's a part of that, too, I guess. Okay.
Well, she went back a year after I met her, and she got into an arranged marriage. The idea being that...
I got a problem with my builder, and I need some advice.
What's your builder been up to?
Okay, well, we bought our house in March of this past year, and since then I've got a bunch of water standing up under it. Have had a couple of estimates from waterproofing companies, and I've got about $2,900 worth of work that needs to be done.
This is in the basement, I take it.
It's the crawl space underneath. Okay?
The crawl space?
Yeah, it's, I don't have a basement, but the door is at like ground level, and then it goes down some, so you could stand up under there.
Is the floor finished?
Yeah, my house is complete.
No. Is in the crawl space?
No. It's just dirt.
Dirt. Well, what's the problem with water?
Okay, we don't know where it's coming from.
Well, what harm does it do? Let's do it that way.
Okay, because there's been as much as like 16 inches standing up under there. It has no way to get out.
Well, I mean, my question stands. What harm is it doing?
It's the mold, the mildew, the rafters, the damage, you know.
Well, no, the damage doesn't do it, but the specifics are, okay, you have mold and mildew, I can understand that. Now, why has it got no place to go? It seems to me it shouldn't be too hard to channel out of there.
Well, it needs to be. That's what I'm saying. It needs to be.
Well,
but,
a sump pump would get rid of that for $100.
well, not according to the estimates that I've had. We need to drain it all the way out to the street. Okay,
well,
we need to.
Well, that's not necessarily true. No, hold it. That's not necessarily true.
Well, see, I mean,
Forgive me. But if you got a water problem under the house in the crawl space, all right? For the sake of discussion, you could get a submersible sump pump for about $60 or $70. You go out there when it's dry and dig a hole in the ground under your house and just put a plain old plastic garbage can with a couple of holes in the bottom of it in that hole. And you can put your submersible pump on the bottom of that with a plastic pipe and a plug. And that'll kick the water any place you want it to kick it to.
Okay. All right, my question back to that then is, I honestly, I'm going to say I don't know this because...
Well, see, no, you're telling me, I know what's happening. This is not a criticism of you.
No.
You're talking to the professionals, and they're going to spend your money like it was trash.
No, because, I mean, when I call these guys, the reason why I got estimates is because I needed these for the other channels that I'm trying to go through.
I understand that.
And... I said, this is what I need, just an estimate of what it would take.
Yes, ma'am, but I'm telling you that you don't have to do it that. They're saying this is the way an engineer would do it, and we're going to put in drainage, and we're going to put the pipe out to the street.
I think they're saying that, this is the way it should have been done in the first place.
Well, that may be, but I don't know how many ways to say it. It seems to me, now I'm willing to listen to arguments to the contrary, but if you've got a water problem such as you're describing, the water's draining in from your house is probably not. I would bet it's not on a level piece of property, either on the bottom of the swale or the top.
Well, but water does not stand anywhere outside. As far as it's not like a big embankment where water comes down. It doesn't stand.
Where's the water coming from?
That's what
Well, wait a minute. Now hold on. Now, do you get the water after it rains?
Yeah, it does. Yes, it does work when it rains, but it does not dry out. It never completely dries out.
I understand that, but what I'm trying to get to is if you put a sump at the lowest point, as it comes in, you'll just kick it out. Now you're asking, can you go after the builder? Is what you're going to ask me?
Well, that's not my only problem.
Well, what's the rest of the problem?
I've got a flooring in an upstairs bathroom. It's a flexible type of vinyl flooring.
Yeah.
That has shrunk completely away from two walls.
What is that a deficiency in the floor? Are you sure the wall hasn't gone away from the flooring?
No, according to the flooring people that have looked at it, it is a flooring that may possibly shrink. The reason why it shrunk this bad is because it was not properly pulled up underneath the molding good enough. Okay. Now, then, through all of this, we had gotten a home buyer's 210 warranty at closing. Okay, this is not something that we purchased. This was just a perk that came from the builder. Okay. I wrote them about my complaint. Got a letter back stating that we had no warranty. Okay.
But you have none?
We have none.
What, the builder was trying to blow smoke in your face? Is that it?
Evidently, what happened, I guess the way this works is, after closing, he has 3 business days to send
the premium
sign form back in, along with the additional money that he owes the warranty company.
And he didn't do that, huh?
And he never did do this.
When you bought this home, were you represented by counsel?
Yes.
Well, then why don't you just turn the whole thing over to him or her?
Well, my biggest problem, I guess, is that my builder basically is no longer building, and I have nobody to really go against.
Well, the thing is he out of business?
He is in the process of applying for a 1991 license.
But the thing is, did he build one house or was this development?
He's built several houses in this development.
What I'm trying to get to is that maybe you don't know the answer, and I can understand that. Was this a corporation that built it, and does that corporation still exist? Did he build it as an individual or what?
It is a corporation, yes.
Does it still exist?
I'm assuming that they do, but I know that they are not building.
Well, that doesn't the issue. The issue is twofold. Does it exist? And if it does it have any assets?
That I honestly could say I don't know.
See, that's what you got to find out, because if you're beating an empty drum if there's no assets.
But, okay, if there are assets, then what?
Then you have your attorney contact the guy, and if you may have to sue him. But I'm here to tell you on that $3,000 number is, it may be that they should have graded the place differently and all that sort of jazz, okay? But we're being realistic right now. You got water, you want to get rid of it.
Right.
And I would tell you right now, maximum $150 I could solve your problem. And my labor.
Okay, you come do it for me. Come help me out.
I'd love to. Take good care, sweetheart. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Cleveland, Ohio. Hello there. Welcome to my world.
Hi, Bruce, a nobody from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
The
capital.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Is that what's in Cleveland?
Yes, it sure is. We got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It'll open next year.
Son of a gun.
And before I get to my problem, I'd like to thank Roanoke, Virginia, and Cincinnati for carrying Talknet, because when I can't hear you at my regular station, I try and tune them in.
Well, son of a gun.
All right, big problem. Hope you can help. My husband got himself into a major pickle. We used to live in the Detroit area, which is where I was introduced to you. And he was working for a company. We moved here to the Cleveland area, and he decided to take a management position with a furniture company. And it's a very large operation, including manufacturing, distribution, and so on. Well, it turns out that the two owners of the business, my husband is right beneath him, they went on vacation and took an extended vacation. They were supposed to be back in about 5 days, and they decided to stay for an entire 14.
How nice.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, payday fell during these 14 days. And neither of them were there or could in any way, shape, or form be there to sign the check.
Oh, nice. I bet your employees were just thrilled to death.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much the situation. And they called the bank, and they said, they called up my husband, and they said, well, go ahead, sign the check. You're able. We called the bank. It's cool. Go ahead.
They meaning the
owners. Right. So the owners called the bank and said, Tom, no problem. You are on our bank account. You may sign the check. So he signed the check. And unfortunately, these are checks that are in a book, and they're made out personally to each person. And
the checks previously made out?
No, but the amounts that the people get paid are designated where all he had to do was fill in the amount and sign it, right? These are in a regular book, like a binder type book, and he just write their name, write the amount, and sign his name.
The net check.
Right.
Okay.
Here's the problem. The taxes were not deducted from these amounts.
That's not a problem.
It is, as far as the IRS is concerned, because this amount is about $35,000, and they're telling my husband that he is responsible for all of those taxes now that the company has folded.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Well, it's folded now.
Well,
but at the time they weren't, and my husband wasn't aware that those taxes were not taken out of...
I was going to say, you just take it the next week for crying, but
right.
How much was the payroll for crying out loud?
I'm not really quite sure, but it's a very, very large company, and he was writing for hours.
He did a bi-weekly payroll?
Bi-weekly payroll, but the bookkeeper was also on vacation with them. It was sort of a group thing, and my husband was the only one there.
Huh.
So
this is fascinating. Stick around, okay?
Okay.
We'll go around the corner together. Wow. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Big John Woody in Cleveland, Ohio. Interesting situation. I guess, and if I'm not synopsisizing this thing correctly, correct me. Owners of company are on vacation. Your husband was an employee, major employee.
Right.
They said, go ahead, send the paychecks out, but he neglected to deduct the appropriate amount of taxes.
Right.
And now the company is belly up, and the IRS wants him to be responsible for the taxes.
Exactly.
How long ago did this happen?
About a year ago. They've been belly up for about 6 months.
So there was nobody picked up on the next payroll if the taxes weren't deducted?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, he was told by them. He says, well, what do I do? And they said, well, everybody was on salary that worked at this company.
You'd adjust it the next pay period and make the appropriate 941 contribution.
Well, that's what I think, too. But I get the feeling that this was carefully calculated, because now we've spoken with the IRS. They do, of course, have their investigators and so on and so forth. We filed a complaint against the former owners of this company, and they are nowhere to be found. As a matter of fact, for 2 payrolls, everything was fine, and then the checks started bouncing, and then, you know.
I mean, 2 payrolls after this incident?
2 payrolls after the incident that we weren't aware of what was going on. None of this had come down. Everybody's checks were fine. And then the 3rd payroll after that, the checks started to bounce. And then people kept just hanging on. And the owners kept saying, oh, just stay with us. Everything's fine. And then before you know it, the place closes up. Everybody, you know, there's a sign on the door and people come to work that day. We are closed. We are filing bankruptcy, so on and so forth. So, you know, my husband had no problem. He wasn't even worried about it until all of a sudden, knock, knock, knock on the door. It's the IRS, and they're telling us that he's responsible for those taxes.
Interesting. What are you obviously you've sought counsel?
Yes.
What's he have to say? What the lawyers have to say about this?
They said unless we can find the owners, the original owners, the company in the meantime has been, you know, purchased by someone else. We're out of luck. We're responsible because he did indeed sign those checks.
The company's been purchased by someone else?
Yeah, it was sold and rebought, and now we have our own business. But
well, wait a minute. That isn't material. What I want to know is, did the company go bankrupt and was it dissolved or was it sold? There's a big difference.
It was dissolved and then sold, but they bought the name.
But they didn't buy the company. It was an asset sale.
Right.
There's a big difference. Because if they bought the company, they'd have still some responsibility. But they only bought the asset.
Well, it turns out that as far as we can trace, these 2 guys have like skipped the country. They don't even live here anymore. And we're at odds. We really don't know what to do.
I think you may have a very serious problem.
Do you think we're stuck for $35,000?
Very possibly.
Who else could we ask? Our personal lawyer and IRS investigators. Is there anyone else that you can think of?
Well, if your personal attorney, I would assume, has referred you to a specialist in tax law.
Right.
Has he not?
Yes.
Okay, because this is certainly a specialty that you want a general practitioner handling. But I don't know that you can go much beyond that. The next question is, do you guys have the assets?
Well, we did turn around and we got another great furniture company. In fact, we manufacture it ourselves for pretty much of a song. He wanted $450, and over 2 loans we bought it for $90,000. So we did really well, but we'd hate to lose this new company and our house.
I understand. I guess you would.
So I'm a little bit worried.
I want you to hold on just a minute, please. Okay.
Okay.
Would you put the lady on hold? And what line are we on here? Encino, California. Hello there.
Hello, my name's...
Don't give me your name. You're a tax attorney, I understand. Yes, sir.
I used to work for the IRS with them for 10 years.
That's the best kind of tax attorney to find, the guy that's worked for the enemy.
And I was a revenue agent, but I practice law now, and I've been practicing for the last 16 years. I haven't heard all the facts. I just was in the car.
Well, let me see if I can slip Cleveland in on this conversation. You there, Cleveland?
Hello.
Yeah, here's the situation as follows, Counselor. The gentleman was an employee of a company. Major employee, but an employee.
General manager.
Yes. He was asked to sign the paychecks, which he did, but he neglected to take the appropriate taxes out. The company went belly up shortly thereafter.
Well, the IRS takes the attitude, first of all, without knowing all the facts, they go by who is a responsible person, quote unquote. And you have to define that. A responsible person doesn't have to have a proprietary interest in the entity.
Right.
It can be an employee.
Yeah, I have an acquaintance who's in that same situation where she signed the checks and now they're coming after her because the company went belly up.
The IRS usually has, at that time when the company goes under, the only information they have is who signed the checks.
Right, now let's clarify this. This fellow was not customarily signing checks. He did it on 2 occasions.
Right. Never had done it ever, and never after that. Just the one occasion.
Well, let's go back to what the law says. The law says, what is a responsible person? A person who knows there's taxes owed to the Internal Revenue Service, and with that knowledge, willfully pays other creditors. The question is, was he in the position that he could designate where the monies of the corporation could be paid? I assume it's a corporation.
Yes.
Because they're going after a responsibility. Okay. So the question is, did your husband have the responsibility of designating who is to be paid?
Well, no. No, he was just the manager. I mean, actually, they had a bookkeeper, and they did have someone who handled the payroll, usually.
No, forget the payroll.
Okay.
But what he's asking is, did your husband pay other bills for the company?
I'm sure of it.
He did.
Yeah, he did some of the ordering and things of that.
But did he pay the bills? Ordering is one thing.
No, they have a bookkeeper who.
That wasn't. No, wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
The point, because you're making a very specific point.
Okay.
Did your husband, was he in a position of authority? If there were 5 bills to be paid and only 3 were going to get paid, did he get to choose A, C, and E?
No, I don't think so, because in this particular case, he had to get special authorization from the bank.
No, you're not listening to me, honey. Now, I want you to listen very closely.
Okay.
Forget about the payroll.
Right.
It's not an issue for the second.
Fine.
On the other end of the business, somebody, if they went bankrupt, they owed more than they had.
Right.
But yet they did pay some bills someplace along the wire. Now, what this attorney is asking you is, was your husband in a management position to decide who gets paid? Whether the shoemaker, whether the power company, whether the phone company, whether some vendor, did he make those executive decisions?
No, I don't believe so. I believe that would have been the office manager.
Is that not the question you're asking, Counselor?
Yes, I'm saying, did he have the right to choose which creditors to be paid, and did he choose to pay creditors other than the IRS?
No, I believe not, no.
All right, then if he had that limited responsibility that the only thing he did was to sign payroll checks, and he had no authority to pay the Internal Revenue, nor did he know how much was to be paid, then he wouldn't be responsible.
Now, I think he probably had the power to do it, but he never did. I mean, they had a bookkeeper and she handled everything. The bills came in and she juggled them.
I heard part of the conversation saying, when I was listening in, that he didn't have a right to sign the checks, but the bank, one of the officers of the corporation allowed him verbally over the phone to authorize him to sign these checks.
Right. Well, he wasn't one of the 2 owners of the company.
No, hold it. You're talking around the question, hon. All he wants to know is, prior to this incident, did he have a right to sign checks for the company?
Never.
That's the answer to the question.
Then even though the IRS is taking a presumption, it's rebuttable, and you can show, one of the key things is get a hold of that bookkeeper, get an affidavit from her, to support your position that he had no responsibility to pay these other creditors. In fact, he was a manager, and he had limited authority to, and I understand, to signing those particular payroll checks. But it had nothing to do with the payroll itself, of paying all the taxes to the IRS.
And this is your practice, is it not, Counselor?
Yes.
In this instance, I'm only going to let you guys talk together off the air, okay?
Okay.
Because interestingly, we deliberately chose a different state, so not to identify this, and you guys are in the same state. It may pay for you to have a conversation.
Terrific.
I want you to hold on, both of you, okay?
Okay.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. I want you to reflect on that last conversation, though. That you see, and this is not in any way critical, but the lady, I kept asking the lady specific questions, and she tried to throw in all kinds of other information that was talking around the question. And you really have to go to the heart of the matter and not get involved in all the minutia. Or so it seems to me. Reno, Nevada, it's your turn. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Well, besides being frustrated and irritated.
Who?
Me.
What are you frustrated and irritated? I thought you meant me. I didn't see you get frustrated.
No, me.
Frustrated maybe. Irritated, no. Go ahead.
I've got a graphic design firm here in town.
Uh-huh.
I've been in business a couple of years.
All right.
Recently had a client who needed something similar to a video cassette box designed.
A video cassette box?
Cassette box needed to be a little different. It had to be thick enough to hold the video cassette, plus a booklet, an instruction type booklet.
Oh, to ship it, you mean?
Right.
I see, okay.
Well, more for the store shelf itself.
Mm-hmm.
My job is design it and make it sell. So I find 8 vendors across the country to send me blank boxes to match the specs for my client.
Mm-hmm.
7 of them send them immediately, matching my specs. I sell the one to the customer. We need, a couple weeks later, the 8th one arrives with a letter. The letter says, should you decide to use my box, a $7,000 fee for designing this custom box just for you will be required. Since they're late, and I've already sold the project anyway, and I didn't want to spend $7,000 on it.
In any case, right.
Yeah, I threw it away. Threw the letter away, threw the box away, went on my merry way. 2 months later, I got a bill from this company.
For?
$400 for the sample box. I thought, well, that's a little steep. Called them up, said, what are you talking about? They said that,